In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, the Highland Park Board of Education has given adequate notice of this meeting by having published the date, time, and place of this meeting in the Home News Tribune, and has posted notice of this meeting at the middle school, 330 Wayne Street, Highland Park, New Jersey. Linda, can I have a roll call, please?
Ms. Aversa?
Here.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Here.
Ms. Bull? Here. Ms. Cimarusti? Ms. Gowan?
Here.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola?
Here.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Here.
Ms. Scherber?
Here.
Mr. Sherman?
So we have a resolution. I move that the Board of Education approve the following resolution. Be it resolved that the firm of Schwartz, Simon, Edelstein, Kelso, LLC of Newark, New Jersey, be appointed as special education consultants of record for the 2015 board year. Can somebody...
A second.
And can we have a... We need a roll call?
Did you move it?
I guess I did, because I read it.
Okay. No discussion? Okay. Ms. Aversa?
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Abstain, please.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola?
Abstain.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Abstain.
Ms. Scherber?
Yes. Do we have enough?
Yes,
Okay.
we have 4.
Okay. Oh, good. Everybody rise with pledge.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 8th, 2014 executive session and January 5th, 2015 regular public and executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a correction on the minutes from the January 5th meeting. The enrollment was incorrect for Irving School. It read 221, it should be 321. So if we could read, we'll make that correction.
I had a possible correction. I'm having a little trouble working the drive, but I think the initial vote, the first vote, I don't even remember what it was on. I'm sorry, I can't get to it. It had a 9-0 vote, and I think it was 3 abstains, 6 yeses. But like I said, I can't remember what it was. So let me see if I can find it.
Chris is going to help you get your drive back.
Thank you. I think it's more just sluggishness of my brain. It's not really a computer problem. It's an intelligence problem. Oh, it's under the board policy links, board links.
Do you have the minutes available?
Yes.
The minutes of the last meeting is what I need. Yeah, it's really just my brain.
Which one do you need?
The last meeting. Sorry, that one.
Is that last?
This is the January 5th meeting.
I'm sorry.
And
Thank
so
you.
what were the
I'm not sure what she's referring to.
which vote are you referring to?
1 second, please. I finally found it.
No problem.
Do you remember what the vote was pertaining to?
I'm embarrassed to say I don't. It was the first vote we took. There were a lot of items, none of which we had.
11. We keep saying it's item 11.
Item 11?
Yes, I see it now. Item 11. Thank you. I'm not sure how much this matters, but
I can't get.
Should be accurate.
Yeah, I don't know what's missing.
They're acting,
9-0?
they've been possessed or something, Chris. They're all.
And it should be,
I'm just a little slow learning how to use it for the first time.
Mine is also, it's just not working.
Brian's not here.
It's just going to take a little bit of learning curve, too.
It should be the same result as the number 12, correct?
Correct, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
I will make that correction. I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Any other discussion? Can we have a roll call?
Ms. Aversa?
Yes for January 5th and abstain for December 8th minutes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes, for the last meeting's minutes and abstain on the prior executive session, I think.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola? I'm sorry. Yes, you're a little distracted. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes, and abstain.
Okay. Ms. Sherber?
Yes.
Okay. I know what she's going to say. The executive session minutes will not pass again. We have been advised by our attorney that we need to pass these minutes. We have made changes to them. We will present them again at the next meeting.
Okay.
With a full board, hopefully. Ms. McFadden DiNicola, are you ready to cast your vote?
Yes.
So for the minutes of December 8th executive session and the regular and executive session for January 5th?
Yes, and then abstain.
Okay.
Did we get that?
Yes.
So they all needed to abstain on the executive session on January 5th because you were not.
That's correct, and that's what yes. But we have out of 7 members, we have 3 yes votes and 4 abstentions. We do not have a majority vote on the December 8th executive session minutes again. We will bring them forward to the next meeting.
Linda, were there any communications?
I was asked to read excerpts from an email regarding a student. Shuyang or Sarah Cheng won 3rd prize, a $5,000 scholarship in the Samsung Mobile App Academy contest. She attended the Samsung, yes, congratulations, Sarah. Sarah attended the Samsung Award ceremony at the International Consumer Electronics Show, or CES, in Las Vegas on January 7th through 9th. A full-page award announcement ad will appear in Scholastic's Upfront student magazine around February 23rd, so watch for it. And there's a website link I can give you to go to the Samsung Mobile App Academy 2013 Winners tab at www.scholastic.com/SamsungAcademy/winners to see finalist photos, specific award information, and to download the finalist winning concept submission document. Congratulations, Sarah, again.
Well, that's great news. Is that it for communication?
Yes.
Superintendent's report.
Yes, let's begin with our student update.
So recently we went to DECA Regionals at Keene University, and we sent 36 people to regionals, and out of that, 30 people are going on to states. So needless to say, we won a lot. We had people in first, second, and third for various events, and so the state competition is going to be at Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and also going on top of that, we're going to report these Sarah Chang winning, but I guess she took care of that. It's okay. It was amazing for her to win that, and if you want to know, her photos on the website, so it's pretty awesome.
The boys basketball team is, they have a much better record this year than last year. Last year they didn't have any wins, and now they do, so that's very exciting. And then additionally, the rehearsals for the musical Beauty and the Beast have taken off, and the students say it's going very well. But our main thing that we're going to present, if you could look at the projector, is our results for the survey that we did back in December. So that's
Just a little side note, we sent the presentation to board at hbschools.net so you guys can follow along. You guys have access to that or no?
So you know what, it's in the future, because you didn't send it till late this afternoon, most people didn't get a chance to.
Okay. Well, we're going
So if you can send it to us a little earlier so that we could have a chance to look at it, that'd be great.
the correct email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what they're showing?
click on these things. Like, I don't have a right click. Oh, sorry. It's normally like a Windows, I would right click. It doesn't seem to be there. I just don't have it. Okay, I'll find out later. But that's it. There was one supposedly. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so we can't get a full screen at the moment because of connection problems, but funny that should happen because we did our survey on Wi-Fi. So, mostly our questions concern the school website, which we're actually going to be learning more about as a separate presentation tonight. But we did a survey in December or late November. And the main focus of our survey was to figure out the best way to improve the district's website. But we did ask a few questions that were not related to the website, and we'll go over those really quickly, and they were multiple choice. So the first one was, do you experience problems with Wi-Fi on approved devices? And about if you see frequently is at the top, then sometimes, rarely, and never. And if you combine sometimes with frequently, that's 70% of students that experience a problem with the school Wi-Fi. Fortunately, this has been getting a lot better. The Wi-Fi and the bandwidth has been a concern, especially with the upcoming FARC tests. But Wi-Fi has been much better, and we predict that had we done this yesterday, that the results would have been much more positive. And then the next question might seem kind of silly, because it says, what influences your learning the most? And hopefully not shockingly, quality of teachers, number one. And then the other choices were internet/technology access, and then class size. And we just kind of threw this question in there, even though we expected the answer that we got. Just because in this age, we recognize the importance of technology and everybody pushes for it, but when it comes down to it, it's the teacher in the classroom that's really challenging the students, that's motivating the students.
So again, our main survey was, asking people how they would improve the district website. So we asked 2 multiple choice questions related to that, and 1 free response. Asking people, say whatever you had a problem with, say whatever you think it needs to be improved about the website. And so based on these free responses, we made 3 different categories for improvement. 1, information that should be on the site but isn't right now. 2, formatting and organization of that information so you can access it easily. And 3rd, an FAQ section that we feel is a vital improvement that could help the website. And so on the next slide we have the first multiple choice. So we asked people or students how often they use the district website. And so they're every day and once a week. If you combine those, we have about 60%. So obviously our website serves a purpose, whether it be where you check the PowerSchool link, you check the links for your teachers, or you just check the calendar to see any latest events. And one quote I want to show you we got from our free response was, make it easier to find me so I can use the site more often. People already use the site very often, but people want to be able to have it as a tool that they can look at every day and gain the information they need at a quick glance. And so our second multiple choice is, are you able to easily find what you're looking for? And so, yes, people have used the website for a long time now, and they can easily find what they're looking for. We also have about 30% of students that aren't able to find what they're looking for, whether it be a document or whatever. And so, one quote I want to show you is, PowerSchool is the only easily accessible thing on the website. Any assignment or any information I look for takes eons. Although it may sound funny, it's a very important issue. You don't want to be looking for something for 10 minutes and not find it when you have a homework assignment to turn in tomorrow and you need to hand it in to your teacher, but you don't have a physical copy of the assignment. And so on to our next slide, we have our first improvement category. So our first improvement category, which we made this category again by looking at the free responses, was adding information that wasn't on the website. So one of those information that should be on the website is a list of school clubs and organizations, and the links to those pages if possible. But when I was doing college apps, I was on the college websites, and I always looked at the page with clubs. There were just hundreds and hundreds of clubs. and I was able to find out the information of each and every one of them. And I was able to find out what they do, when they do what they do, and what they're all about. This is something that I want to see, and the students want to see with our school as well. We have many clubs. We want to know what we're getting into. We want to know what makes our club so, diverse, what makes our school, so great with all these clubs. And so a quote I want to show you is, I would like to see it updated more often and see a list of clubs and a calendar of their activities. This calendar could be added to the main district calendar on the main website. A list of sports events, a list of competitions, orchestra dates, concert dates, and field trips. And so an interesting suggestion we also had is to have businesses partner up and become a part of the school community. We can have a page for those businesses and have them offer job opportunities for high school students.
Okay, so our second improvement category was formatting and organization. So the students really wanted clear and easy access to PowerSchool, contacting an employee, a teacher's website. Not all teachers have their own specific websites, but the ones that do, it would be helpful to be able to find them really easily through the district's website. And other helpful links like Khan Academy, which a lot of people use for math, or Max Preps, which a lot of people use for sports schedules, and summer assignments. So there's a couple of quotes that we have. Some people thought that the summer assignments were too hard to find, so they were thinking they should be in like their own folder. So the second one's interesting. They said information should be more readily displayed in the tabs along the side and the top, so that you don't have to type in your search as often. You can just see what you want. And yeah, the second one is again talking about the teacher's own websites. Okay, so continue. This was our biggest category, was formatting and organization. We have a calendar, which is great, but it's often not updated. So a lot of the students really wanted that to be a focus, current updates on the calendar, saying what type of day it is, and maybe announcements that are important. So for example, somebody said to tell people about the sports games when they're home, when they're away. So sports. And then design unification and information retrieval. So one student said to improve the design and make the design more unified across the district schools. And this is more of like a formatting issue, it wasn't too much what we were concerned with, but we do think it's interesting. And we obviously want, the school, the district's colors on there. But somebody suggested having the design more like unified.
And so continuing on for formatting and organization, we want to have an easier access to all documents. One free response was more updated files and a fix for the documents page. Often I found that when I looked up documents for the search, for the summer assignments, often I came up with an error message. And honestly, that's not okay. Because I need to be able to find what I'm looking for. I need to be able to do a summer assignment. And that's a very important issue. And also, the students suggested putting what people most frequently check onto the home page. And this is a stylistic thing, not exactly adding information, but we can have our website be more inviting by having pictures of students, faculty, and clubs.
So the FAQ, the frequently asked questions, somebody like the website did suggest that it could be like on the home page, so that for people just, PowerSchool, calendar, all that, board meetings, everybody comes to them, that they could have like a direct link. So the questions concerning PowerSchool employees, delayed openings, early dismissals, the calendar and the sports and the clubs, they could either have like a direct answer, or they have a link that leads you to the answer. And one student suggested to have search engines with the most frequently asked questions. So that's another one.
Okay, so we want to give a special thanks to obviously the board for your time and your encouragement with the survey process and your appreciation that this is an important process and things that we need to do in order to improve our website.
We'd also like to thank Mr. Lassiter and Mr. Gold, who's Mr. Lassiter is the high school principal, and Mr. Gold is a history teacher. And we also want to thank Student Congress, who helped us distribute the Chrome cards, because this was done electronically, to take the survey. And then finally, we want to thank the students for actually participating in this. So, any questions?
Well, why don't we turn on the lights and then we can ask you questions, if that's okay.
Are they over there somewhere? Oh, Crystal.
So you guys can sit down now.
You could have done it.
So what would be the process that we give this to the tech department? How would they use this information to help their improvement the site?
All right, so I want to commend you. What a wonderful presentation. I think it was very comprehensive, very comprehensive. So the next step is forward your presentation to Chris. He's going to be intricately involved in the redesign of the website, and by the way, all of the recommendations and suggestions, they're doable. With the website that we're designing. So it's very important for him to receive that. So as we move along, all of those points are being addressed. So I want to thank you. Questions?
Can I ask a question? I wanted to know if there were any other schools' websites. Did you do any sort of search to other districts? Did you see anything out there that you liked in particular?
I'm trying to think specifically. I think so. I don't remember the names.
Yeah,
but the bigger schools tend to have the better websites just because they have a larger population that they need to satisfy.
Sure.
But I also know that we're a great school, and even though we're small, we have a lot to offer. So I think that's why it's important to update the website.
Yeah.
I think a great inspiration for website improvement, as I said, a lot of college websites, what I was looking at when I was doing my college apps, they had a lot of things I saw. As I said, one of them was a list of all the clubs, and they had emails of people, the leaders in the clubs, an about page, just a place where you could find out everything about that club, and just a really, a fleshed out, organized, well-formatted website is what I saw on many college websites. And I think that's, obviously we're not a college, but I think we can aspire to achieve some of the goals that colleges do, and some of the things that colleges do with their websites.
Because it sounds to me like it's more about the way that the website is organized rather
Right.
than the way that it looks.
It's a large percentage of that, and a little tiny bit added on to that is what information we display and how we do that.
Right. But I hear a lot of ease of use and
Right.
able to select things when you're
Because you
on-
can find things. Can you find it with 3 or 4 clicks?
Right.
Can you find it within 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Well, I also want to echo thanks for getting all that information, and I agree with everything that you said. And it is really frustrating when you can't find what you want to find. Though you can find it, it shouldn't take so long. So, thank you again.
May I? I'm sorry if I missed this. How many students responded to the survey?
We had
I
189
was a little-
for the free response. We had 189 that answered it,
Great.
about 135 that skipped, and the total was about 300.
300
Total.
something that took
significant.
all of the
That took the-
good.
a multiple. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good, actually.
That's great.
Almost the whole
Very good.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Excellent.
Thank
Okay,
you very
no more
much.
questions?
That was
Thank you
very
so much.
informative.
Very nice. Thank you so much once again. So now that we're on that topic of the website, Chris, would you shut the lights off so maybe they can just, So today we're going to give you a little taste of what we're thinking about and moving forward, and I'm hoping that through this very quick presentation, it'll address a lot of the areas that you discussed. So the website committee has been talking to numerous vendors and the redesigning of the website, and they pretty much have narrowed down their search to one particular company that can move forward with our website, and that's Sharp School. We believe that Sharp Schools has the capabilities of taking the district's communications to the next level. So with them, we'll be able to create an interactive, and not only interactive, but informative website that will be beneficial to the residents, and to the parents, to the teachers, and to the staff. So the following are just some of the features that we're excited to announce. Number one, a more uniform-looking and user-friendly website. That's what we're focusing on. Social learning communities for teachers and students. There you can blog. You can create chat rooms, an intranet website also, which will allow the staff now to collaborate with each other in a safe and secure online community, just for the staff. We're looking at integration of social media management. We're looking at a customized app for smartphones and tablets, which will allow us to do push notifications regarding alerts and special messages sent by this district. In addition, we'll have the ability to translate into different languages, both the site and communications. And I know that was a particular area that was addressed a few months ago, the need to translate more of our communication. So this company has the capabilities of doing it automatically with the push of a button. Not only that, it has the capability of event planning. Let me give you a perfect example. Some teachers have asked, will it be possible for us to organize and schedule the parent-teachers conferences via online? Well, we'll have that capabilities, and I know that's one area that the high school is very interested in exploring. We'll be able to also do video streaming. So it'll have that capabilities. As a matter of fact, live video streaming. So in other words, tonight, if this website was up, parents that were unable to attend this meeting will be able to actually see the board meeting as it's taking place. So it'll have that capabilities. So we're very excited about the possibilities. Let's go to the next one. All right, this is more or less what it's going to look like, and once again, it's not just how it's going to look like, but how it's going to be organized. So we want to do it in a very comprehensive, easy way where people can have immediate information at their fingertips. Let's go to the next one. Okay. The website has, various links. So we'll have a parent portal with individualized parent portals, classrooms in a glance. That means a parent wants to know what's going on in one particular classroom. She'll be able to go actually, or he will be able to have access to that information by going to that particular classroom, where the teachers will have an opportunity to create their own website, to create information for the parents, what the students are learning every day, what homework was given out. So we'll have that opportunity. Then all the kids will have one portal that they can navigate. We'll be able to have and organize parent groups, and also the device will be able to have cross-device compatibility. In addition to that, when it comes to the student portal, we'll have a homework Dropbox. Lesson plans and assignments will be available for the students, and PDF textbooks, virtual textbooks will be allowed. For those companies that already have it in place, we'll have the capabilities of doing that. And not only that, we'll also have the capabilities of virtual classrooms. So let's say, for example, teacher's absent, she wants to do a lesson. She can actually create her own lesson, put it on the website, all right, and students will have access to that particular lesson. Let's say a student is absent. So in addition to the PDF textbooks, all right, at any given time, if it's well organized, the teachers will be able to actually, create a lesson, and those students that are absent will be able to actually see that particular lesson. Let's move forward. We talked about the intranet capabilities. That's district-wide collaboration with all of the staff, and that's private. That's just for the staff. Communication, staff with me, with the principals. Easy-to-use classroom tools, Web 2.0 classroom applications that enable interactive learning environment, mobile tools that let teachers publish, organize, and grade assignments on the go, all within one site. Move on to the next one. In addition to that, communication with all of our stakeholders, so we'll have the capabilities of alerting the residents, the parents, the teachers, student mobile website, just push notification abilities. So that's a customized app. All right. And that's just a little taste of what we're looking at for the website in the future. And hopefully by February, we'll be able to give you a more comprehensive once it's done, and we'll share it with you. All right. Thank you. Chris. Any questions?
I have.
We have Chris.
I do. Yeah, we'll wait till the light comes on, I guess.
Let me just adjust the camera.
Yeah. They'll be quick. So, okay, really quick, I just wanted to ask about access issues. So, I can imagine that if parents are very comfortable with using, websites in general from home, if they have a computer, they work with a computer at work, as most of us do, that they might have a leg up on getting, let's say, the top spot for teacher conference.
Okay.
So that's just kind of a very basic concern about access that I don't expect you to be able to answer, but it's just something that I thought we should think about.
Just to give you an overview of how that would work. Basically, what you do, you create an event in 15-minute intervals. And what you do is you create an event for 15-minute intervals, and you have one seat. And it's just like here, it's first come, first serve.
Yeah.
And what it does is it only allows one person to register for that event, and they can do all their events at that one time, and they can print their event schedule for what they're going to. They call it conference as an event. It's just an event plan, but it's a different way of doing the teacher conferencing. And if you can't make it, you just cancel the event, and the teacher gets an email saying that the event has been canceled, and we just reopen the spot.
Okay.
On the other hand, to your concern, it seems to me that we could still have parents, either phone in or send a form in that could then be, so that somebody in the office could plug in a time. So that time would still end up being,
Right.
Available to them.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. So the way it works now is, at the high school anyway, that you call or you send a note or an email to the scheduler, who then sort of schedules all of it. So this would actually take some of the onus off of her, but it wouldn't eliminate that ability. So there would still be the ability to call,
Right.
and and the secretary could have access to the event schedule as well.
Okay, so I guess it's,
You would actually see the event schedule run online.
Right.
So you'll be able to choose wherever you want.
And the secretary could see the event schedule. So if somebody didn't have access to the website, I guess is Michelle's concern. Right.
yeah, oh, so that would still
Or
be
you
an
can email
option.
the teacher.
Okay.
Because they're going to.
Well, they have emailed, if they have emailed, then they have access to the website. So if the only thing that is available is a phone
That should
or,
be an option.
yeah, that.
Okay, because that was my immediate concern on that. And then the other issue is, I'm always concerned when we start putting things, like all of our things, in my private life and my work life, all of our things in one area, and, things go wrong on the website, it crashes. Do we have any sort of backup service, or the privacy?
Backup, they have 5 different locations that they do backup.
Okay.
And they're all throughout the United States and Canada. So they have locations everywhere. And what we're kind of the combined parent is going to be a single sign-on, which they interact with PowerSchool. So you're going to see the grade books, you're going to see everything that your students see at PowerSchool. But you're going to have all your students under one login and stuff
Right.
like that. And whatever other groups we decide to create. Because, like I said, we're going to have the capability to block and chat. So, for instance, you can't make a conference, maybe we can open up a quick group and you can chat with the teacher if you can't get there. And one of the big things we like about the learning possibilities, say the teacher's going to be out because they find out they're sick. Come on, you send in a substitute. We know what kind of classroom happens when a substitute most of the time. The teacher will have the ability to post a video at night, post it onto the website, tell the substitute to go to the website, and he can actually give a video presentation of him giving the lesson, or her giving the lesson, and at the same time running a live chat. Where kids could be logged in and asking questions, getting the answers and stuff like that. There'll be homework, Dropbox. So it's basically a virtual classroom without the one-on-one video contact, but you have everything else in play there.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's exciting to think about. My concern is always going to be privacy and security.
Yeah, everybody's going to have a single line. Everybody's going to have a unique login. We'll look at the security. I mean, we looked at them because of who their customers are. We like their features. They deal with all the big group 4 or 5 schools. They've got, I think it was 10,000 customer lists we looked at. We noticed all the big schools around here are starting to use them and stuff like that. They came highly recommended. We looked at different vendors. And we we just kept going back. We like the way they, especially when they showed their backup locations all over the place. So we know if we go down, we're never going down, because then this server goes down, that server picks it right up, and we'll never see it.
Chris, can you say what other districts are using them?
West Windsor, Platesboro's using it, the Stataway's using it, and I don't remember the others. I believe Montgomery was using it. So it's basically all the bigger schools. And the same two vendors that we came down to, both West Windsor and Piscataway, as we talked to them, came down to, and they chose this over the other one also for the same reason we did.
Can you speak about the, I think it was integrated social media?
Yeah, what that does is we have the Facebook page now, and we've also talked about starting Twitter accounts for alerts and stuff like that. What we can do, it goes both. We can post right to Twitter and Facebook right from the website, and vice versa. So if we post something on Facebook, we'll have a box on the front page, and it'll show everything we're posting right to the website. So if you don't have a Facebook or Twitter account, you can still see everything being posted directly right from the site.
So are they monitoring the Facebook? I mean, who's monitoring the Facebook page?
Myself and Tom's, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, and it's,
we have barriers in there. We make sure we have profanity, we have every type of,
you have the filters on, okay.
every type of filter in there, so. We'll watch.
Okay,
So,
just checking.
We're really excited about this.
thank you, Chris.
Put a lot
Yeah.
of hard work into this, we're really excited, and there was a group of 3 of us that we looked at, along with Mr. Soto, and
So this is where we're at, right? People at the beginning were very concerned about the state of affairs of our website, right? So we looked at in terms of a vision for tomorrow. It's almost like one-stop shopping, right? Our district website becomes the hub of communication. Not 10,000 other websites. Our website becomes the hub of communication. Everything you wanted to know but were afraid to ask is it's right in that website. Right? And I'm thankful for the students who gave us the input, because we're going to use that input. This tool has the capability to address all of those concerns that you address. So we're very excited. And we're looking at a website that is interactive, it's exciting, it's informative, it's easy, and something that we can feel proud of as a district. So thank you.
can I explain the intranet real quick? Because if you guys don't know what an intranet is basically it's a closed group. It's going to be for administrators and teachers, and what they can do is, we always say there's not enough common planning. It's a place where they can do common planning and not have to meet face to face. They can do it via chat. They do drop in assignments in there. They can share documents and everything like that. We can link to Google Drives and everything. And one big thing I also want to go about the translation into different languages website, they use Google Translate. So every language Google Translate can translate something to the best of its capability. Right. What we do is we have all that list, and you just pick it, click submit, and it translates right there immediately for you. So
It's not always.
Yeah,
We know.
It's better than nothing.
We'll put that up there.
But we'll be vigilant.
It's sometimes, I think, enough for people to get the gist of what's being said, though, so I guess that's the important issue.
Okay, we're as good as Google is. Any other questions?
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. At this point, I want to just share some enrollment data for the month of December. Irving had a total of 319 students, 1 transferred in, 3 transferred out. Bartle, 463, 0 transferred in, 11 transferred out. Middle school, 332, 2 transferred in, 3 transferred out. High school, 467. 1 transferred in, 4 transferred out, for a total of 581 students. We have a difference of 17 students, and many of those students are returning from their respective countries because of the holidays. So we're anticipating them coming back. In terms of violence and vandalism, the middle school had 5 out-of-school suspensions. The high school had 2. In-school suspensions, the middle school had 5, the high school had 3, and violence and vandalism, the middle school had 5, and the high school had 5.
Do we want to move Mr. Colatano so he can?
Yes.
So if nobody objects, maybe what we're going to do is have Mr. Colatano give his presentation first so that he can go home.
To us.
Well, I guess at the podium, is that, okay. Is that all right? Do you mind? So does everybody have the, I didn't bring this.
Am I looking at my copy or a copy to be passed around?
Well, actually, there's also an abstract. Yeah, there's a.
Okay. Is that in the drive, I think? I saw something about the...
3 pages?
I know.
Oh, I have this.
I guess do that first.
Oh, okay.
So there are 3 different.
Do you have more of these for the rest of the board members?
I got one.
You have, no, do you have the rest?
Pardon? I gave them to you. I'm sorry. Coming around the room are handouts. Actually, what I've done tonight is taken this book into a handout of 3 pages to help you understand it a little better, and according to Mr. Soto, to get out of here fast. The first page of the handout.
Beginning to end.
The first page of the handout is an audit exhibit B2. The B2 exhibit is basically your profit and loss statement for the year. And what I've done with this exhibit, the audits are on a 1-year basis only. So for this particular handout, the B2 exhibit that I'm showing you now is this year's B2 from the audit compared to last year's audit. And what I'm trying to show you is where your increases are, where your decreases are, what's good and what's bad. As far as revenues are concerned, we have about $506,000 less revenues than we had last year. Some of the items were, the biggest item was a decrease in grant funds, which was the Ed Foundation that gave you money for the auditorium improvements. That was the biggest item. Expenditures actually were down by $932,000 compared to last year, which is a real positive. A lot of decreases in expenditures and a couple of nominal increases. One large increase was capital outlay, but that's determined by the school's needs, so it's something you can't compare to year. Overall, our surplus took a decrease last year of $778,000 because of the fact that we did transfer money to capital projects, which are approved by the state of New Jersey, which we will get back 40% in funding from. We also utilized money to offset the tax increase to help the taxpayers. The second handout page there's an audit exhibit J4 which has 8 columns, which is in the audit books, but the handout page has the middle 8 columns taken away, and I'm just comparing the current year to the year 2005. This page is kind of frustrating to a point. We're showing that the general purpose tax levy has increased over that 10-year period of time by $6 million, which is roughly 39%. One thing to look at on the revenue areas from the state of New Jersey and the federal government, there's an increase of $175,000 over that 10-year period of time. When you compare that to the total amount that the state and the federal government has given us, that's really a nominal increase. So really what's happening, the fact that the state and the federal government has not kept up with our needs, we've had to raise the real estate taxes in order to provide the services that you are. And just sitting in the audience tonight, the stuff that I've heard and seen in previous visits, I know what kind of product is coming out of here, but somebody's got to pay for it. And we're not getting the support from the state or federal government. Looking at the bottom half, which is the expenditures for that 10-year period of time, most of the expenditures are really relatively good. We have a couple of items that stand out as far as increases, and you're not uncommon. The employee benefit area has doubled. It's a 100% increase over that 10-year period of time, which is primarily health insurance, even though the teachers are committing some of their resources back into the insurance program. Special education tuition has increased considerably over that 10-year period of time, not only through the budget, but also through the grant funds that are utilized. We have an increase in special education costs, something the school district really has no control over, of $1,465,000 over that 10-year period of time, a 121% increase. Other areas are showing decreases or nominal increases over that period, which shows an effort on the school district to control cost. But because of the lack of support from the federal government and state government, again, we've really had no choice but to raise taxes. The one concern that I do have is the amount of surplus that has decreased over the last 2 years. So we had a decrease of $1,352,000 over that 2-year period of time. For two reasons. We did use surplus funds, again, for the capital project transfer so we can accomplish the window project and the security projects going on, and also taxpayer relief. At the end of 2013, there was approximately $955,000 that was earmarked as budget revenue or surplus in order to balance your budget. That saved the taxpayers 18 cents. Now, 18 cents doesn't sound like much, but 1 cent on a $100,000 home is $10. So the 18 cents is $180 savings in school taxes on a $100,000 assessment. The higher the assessment, the $180 is going to increase accordingly. The audit itself, which is about 100 pages, has a lot of useless pages. I pulled out, I think, the stuff that's most interesting or should be interesting to the board members to identify what's happening within your school district. A couple of pages from the audit that are semi-interesting is the impact of what you have to work with as far as taxes. For the people who have audits with them, on page 102 is an analysis of the assessed values of Highland Park for the last 10 years. Now, we have not had a revaluation here in many years, and basically what the county of Middlesex says is you're assessed approximately at 50% of the true values of your homes. So looking at the exhibit, every $54,000 that goes into the budget is 1 cent on the tax rate. So it doesn't take much to impact taxes with the amount of assessed values that are on the books right now. That's the 1 cent that I was telling you about. 1 cent, $10 for every $54,000 expended. And the last page I wanted to highlight is page 103, which is the tax rate increase over that 10-year period of time. Taxes are up about 39%. Of the three components, the school, the town, and the county, you are the lowest percentage increase at 36%. All of you are pretty close, but you are the lowest of the three, percentage-wise. So you are trying to control costs, but the only problem that I have is the nervous feeling that I have, the amount of surplus that is being used going down. So it's a balancing act you have to work with. But eventually that surplus is going to be much smaller than it is now, and there's going to be a lot left in reserve, a lot less to put into reserve. Short enough?
Short, but not particularly sweet.
Well, just a warning. And I think the biggest problem that any school district is faced with is a timing element. The way you can generate surplus is by receiving more money than you anticipate because you have a balanced budget and not spending what you budget for. Again, we talk about timing of when you do your budget and when the school year actually starts. It's a large period of time in between, and a lot of things can happen in that period of time. So last year you were lucky. Other years it may go the opposite way. And so we did well last year as far as not spending the budget. But it always worries me about the period of time in between. Too many things can happen. Any questions?
Anybody have any questions?
So if you boil it down, what do we need to worry about?
Not enough money.
You're limited on what you can do with taxes, and one of the problems you're faced with is the amount of surplus that we've been using to balance the budget. And for what I can see, it looks like you're using the amount of surplus you are in order to put the appropriations into the budget. Because you're allowed a 2% increase on taxes, which you have. You can't go above that without exceptions. With exceptions, you're allowed to. But in order to balance that budget and keep the appropriations in, since you have to have a balanced budget, you've got to throw the surplus in to balance off those expenditures. So if you want to preserve surplus, the only place you have, and it's not an easy thing, particularly for a board member when you have to balance, you have to cut appropriations instead of using surplus. That's a difficult thing to do, and particularly with the product you're putting out here.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Kind of an ignorant question. How much surplus in this particular category of surplus should we have, sort of as a
All right, the
standard principle? Or?
The surplus analysis, which is the third page I gave you,
Okay.
There's a line that says unrestricted free surplus. That's 2% of your expenditures. That's what the state says is all you're allowed to have.
Okay.
Okay. You're just below it this year. It's $735,382. Sounds like a lot of money. It's not.
But that's almost 2%? That's almost the cap?
Just under 2%. Okay, that's the amount of surplus you're allowed to have. Okay. The other items you have that are reserved.
Oh, other.
You have capital reserve now, $351,000 left after you made the transfer out this year.
Mm-hmm.
351, based on the age of some of your buildings, may not be adequate to save the taxpayers the money. They're used to saving because of the capital project reserves that you've had over the years.
Will we get, does that include the 40% we get back? No, so we will actually be getting, that will go back into capital?
That's 60% of the total project.
Oh, I see.
Oh, that number
that we
is-
have, right. Because this year we transferred out $634,000 net after we took money in. No, I'm sorry, 955,000 roughly.
So the 351 does include the money we'll get
It's
back?
60%, yeah.
Okay,
it
we
does.
transferred in 706,000 that we canceled from prior projects, and then we transferred out $1,341,000. So you saved a considerable amount of money. What I say, $60,000 was a tax point roughly, so that's a lot of money that was saved for the taxpayers. The goal would be to increase the capital reserve for futures needs. Linda mentioned today at the Finance Committee meeting that there was a potential boiler replacement, which is not cheap in a school. That would not be adequate, the 351 probably. So with
there
the
be
more
any other
surplus you're
non-grants?
using, the less you're able to reserve.
So that's, surplus means capital reserve plus the unrestricted free surplus?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have, if you remember from prior visits, I tell you how much you have in total surplus, and I proceed to take it all away from you, leaving you with the 735,000. What we want to try to do is get that capital reserve back up. You have an emergency reserve. There's a maintenance reserve that you can have. There's a bunch of stuff that you can have, but the more you use in surplus for the budget, the less you can have in reserve, because we're using it. Not to say you shouldn't in order to maintain your programs.
Thank you.
Can you describe again the difference between the increase in the local tax levy and what we receive from state and federal funds, the increase?
Over the 10-year period of time?
Yeah.
Sure. Over the 10-year period of time, our real estate tax increase for the general purpose tax of the total budget increased about 39% over that period of time. In the same period of time, I just said $6,055,000 is the amount the real estate taxes increased in that period of time. At the same time, the state and federal government increased the amount of revenues they passed on to you, $175,000, way below the $6,055,000. If they had kept up with your needs, your need to increase taxes wouldn't have been the $6,055,000, because that's the other source of revenue you needed to balance the budgets.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, right.
Okay. The budget calendar. Are we reviewing the budget calendar?
So let's review the budget calendar.
Yes.
Sorry.
In January, we received a list of due dates, requirements based upon the laws related to the budget. And there are basically 3 dates that we need to adhere to as far as doing things within the deadline. The first deadline that comes up is the adoption and filing of the tentative budget. Now, this usually happens fairly quickly after we receive information from the state on state aid. We actually have a little bit more time now because of the fact that we don't have an April election. The deadline is Friday, March 20th. But what we are proposing is that at the March 9th regularly scheduled board meeting, we will be presenting a tentative budget. And I emphasize the word tentative. The next due date is the formal public hearing. This may coincide with the board adoption of the final budget, but it does not have to. We usually do. The formal public hearing must take place between April 24th and May 7th. We have a board meeting on May 4th. We are proposing that the formal public hearing on the budget take place on May 4th. That will give us almost 2 months to fine-tune the budget and bring it to an agreeable resolution. As I discussed with Israel Soto, because we don't have a lot of time between the day we get our state aid figures and the day that the tentative budget is due, that number may not even be realistic, but it needs to be...
What day do we get the tentative?
That's the thing we don't know. The governor's budget address, to my knowledge, has still not been announced. The last time I checked, it had not been announced. It is typically the 4th Tuesday in February, which would be February 24th. So that is my expectation, but I have no way of knowing for sure. Typically, the state aid figures are published, presented to the states 2 days later. So that would be February 26th. Having a board meeting on March 9th gives us about a week to put numbers together. So what we would emphasize to you is that the tentative budget simply is something that we need to send to the state, first blush what we think we need. We then have 2 months to have discussions back and forth, fine-tune, and come up with what we all consider to be a fair and reasonable budget.
In the past, there have been, you've run sort of a couple of different scenarios. Is that still?
Yes. So Israel and I are continuing to work on the budget. We're still meeting with administrators, and we plan to. Israel will be making a preliminary budget presentation at the next meeting on February 9th. And every meeting thereafter, most likely. I expect Israel will be presenting our needs, our concerns, our challenges, our priorities, and those types of things, which go into, the bottom line budget.
Now, do we have available waiver money this year?
We do. I don't have the figure in front of me, but I did give it to Israel If I say a number, it could be way off. So we do have the waivers that are available that apply to our district are in the areas of health benefits that exceed 4% increase, and in the areas of increased enrollments above a certain percentage. The waivers that we have not taken full advantage of relate to enrollment increases. When we put the numbers into the budget program, I know right now there will be a waiver for health benefits because, we had a 10.1% increase in health benefits this year. At first step, I'm putting in a 12%, but we may fine tune that number, but we're going to be looking at a higher number than 4%. So the state, in their regulations, allows districts to exceed the property tax 2% cap for that reason. That's certainly up to the board to discuss.
I just wondered if we had it available.
Yes, we have some left over that we've been holding, and we will have allowable waivers.
New waivers.
But the High Point dates, and I'll distribute this all to you after tonight's meeting, is February 9th, which is the next board meeting. We'll begin, Israel will be making presentations on the budget. February 20, we think the governor's address will be February 24th. We think we'll get state aid February 26th. March 9th, board meeting will be the date when the tentative budget needs to be adopted so it can be submitted to the county office for review. Then between then and May 4th, discussions continue, and May 4th would be the formal public hearing. The other date that I mentioned was the board adoption of the final budget. As I said, it typically takes place at the same meeting as the formal public hearing. It must take place no later than May 14th. So we don't have a meeting between May 4th and May 14th. However, if it came down to it and the board could not come to a consensus and majority vote, we would have May 11th should the board choose to add a meeting. That is my report.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Just as a point of reference and clarification, at our last board meeting, there was a concern that was expressed about the manner in which the district administrator handled the retroactive check deductions, federal tax deductions, as being unlawful. We had an investigation. We sat down with our auditor, Mr. Colentano, and what a shame that he left. But he assured us, and he reviewed it, and he assured us that nothing unlawful was done. And I expressed I have a wonderful relationship with the HPEA, Kim Crane and Nancy. We're doing a lot of work, a lot of wonderful work for this district. I just felt that the way it was expressed, in my view, almost tarnishes the reputation of our district administrator. When you question, then it becomes a question of integrity. Integrity of the person who's actually doing the report, and also the integrity of this administration. And certainly we've had a conversation, we met, and all is good. It was clarified, and certainly they are entitled to opinions, and so do we. But moving forward, we're in a good place, and we're looking at improving the communication between us and HPEA, so this will not happen again. We want to make sure that everyone fully understands what we're doing, and certainly when someone does not understand and there's some type of fault in the communication, well, people then question. But I just wanted you to know that after reviewing the documents, Mr. Colentano actually had told us that nothing unlawful was done. I just wanted to clear that up tonight.
We also spoke with the attorney who concurred. Moving on.
That's it.
Okay, so I think that's the end of the superintendent's report. So we're going to move on to board committee reports and recommendations. Claire, you want to give the curriculum report?
Yes, curriculum committee did meet tonight. We talked about some course title changes in social studies and music, and the addition of a new music course, AP Music Theory. And we also talked about that there was a park presentation, and there are going to be 2 dates. One was actually today, 2 practice dates to make sure everything's working with the computers and part testing. Today, January 20th, and February 4th will be another testing practice day. And CUSAC, which is the state monitoring group, is coming here February 23rd, and they will visit Bartle, the middle school, and the high school. And on the agenda, I have a few corrections. Do I read the corrections now or later?
No.
Now, okay. So the corrections are on the agenda. Item number, let's see. Item number 9, about the Teen Center SAT preparation course instructors. Under employee, where it says Michael Moore, it needs to say Michael McCrae is the person being appointed for that position. And item number 10, the last sentence, and it says the pay is $55 per hour. That is incorrect. The correct rate is $48 per hour. And that's, that's the appointment of Title I after-school tutoring coordinator. Wait, Dragon tutoring, that's
Maybe
not that.
that's 3.
Huh?
Item 3.
Okay, sorry. And then item 3, the after-school Dragon tutors at Irving. The start date of that program is not January 20th. The actual start date was January 13th. So please make a note of all of those items. And that's basically all I need to report.
Any questions?
Yes, if you don't mind. I believe the field trips is under curriculum. Am I correct about that? Still having a little trouble here. I have to express a concern about the G&T field trip. I mean, I know Darcy had asked the last time about whether we were going to try to make that field trip available to other students. That's one concern. I don't know if that's possible. The other concern is the cost of the field trip. Much like the last 4th grade field trip, it's going to be almost $50 per student, and that cost is to be borne by parents and students. I mean, I have 2 concerns. One, under board policy, I think we are supposed to provide financial assistance to anyone who cannot go on the field trip. And I know the last time there was no sort of statement about that made on the field trip forms. So I would imagine that if you were a student in that program who couldn't pay, the last trip was, I think, $57, you would feel maybe a little bit cowed about asking for help. And second, I wonder if it behooves the district to have a field trip for a G&T program that's already a little bit controversial with some parents, that has a $47 field trip. I mean, it seems to me that sends a message of, the G&T program is only for privileged children. So I wonder what others think.
Well, first you should, let me just say one thing. You should know that children who receive free and reduced lunch are reached out to. So there is some intervention there. They don't have to raise their hands and say,
How does that happen when there's a G&T field trip? Does Mrs. Amsterdam know to go talk to the nurse, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's it's not a big school. It's not like there's a huge number of.
Okay. I mean, $47 is a lot for your non-free and reduced lunch students too.
I agree.
I don't know.
And then I'm sorry. So you.
Well, I said my piece. Thank you, and I'm glad that they were reached out to the.
And I certainly agree. $47, $50. It is expensive, and this is a topic that we've covered, and we've had a long conversation with the organizers in terms of reaching out to more students. Originally, it was only 14 students, and that was the cap. but it's been extended to 21 students. So we're reaching out. From this point on, we will be opening up more opportunities for students to participate. So as you can see, from 14 to 21, you had 7 additional students. In terms of the $48, certainly we'll have additional conversations about how can we defray some of this cost, because the trips are expensive, and we recognize that.
Okay. I mean, this is an improvement from $57, but, it's still quite expensive. Thank you.
I have a question. Do we know what the enrollment in the Hebrew program is at this point? Because, as probably the board knows, this is a program that we instituted, in exchange for something we didn't actually end up getting. So, if the program is not, so if the enrollment doesn't justify the program, then I think we should probably look at
No, I think we do have the enrollment. I had a conversation with Ms. Lassiter. We do have the enrollment. The situation was that there were a number of kids in the same classroom, and it wasn't differentiated. Some of the students were more advanced than others, and therefore the goal was then to differentiate more, and thus breaking up that particular group.
So she was a part-time, are we extending her hours or no?
No.
So she has the same hours they pay, it's just the classes are just broken up differently. And there's enough students that like 15 in each class?
Yeah, thus far, yes.
Okay.
But isn't
If there are any changes, I'll let you know. I'll reach out to Hebrew.
But going back to the language classes, isn't there already a question in a lot of other classes about differentiated instruction within different classrooms? That, are we addressing differentiated instruction in every class where they're asking for it, or is we just on this one?
No, we've had conversations with teachers regarding differentiation of instruction, but it's easy to say that's very difficult, and we're going to continue to provide professional development. That is extremely difficult. It's certainly easy, and we would like all classes to be differentiated, but I believe that teachers need more tools and more professional development to reach this goal. In terms of the Hebrew, it was just very clear that we had a group of kids that were just far advanced than others, and it wouldn't be fair to them.
And so, Claire? The AP music composition class, or I don't see it on the agenda. It's just something that was discussed, or is it a possibility? Is it something we're going to
What we
do?
discussed in the curriculum committee meeting is that there are enough students interested in such a course.
I think that would be great. We don't
It would be great. If
Because
there
we
are
really-
enough students, I think that's fantastic. If there's not enough students, then we can't run the course.
Right.
Right?
Pretty clear.
Okay.
Do we have a teacher who's AP certified to teach it?
That's part of the proposal, is he would have to go to the AP certification course this summer.
Do we already have an honors music theory course on the books? So this would take the place of that?
Well, I don't know if it would take the place, but we don't have that.
Okay. Because it seems like the AP would be above and beyond the honors. Is that right? But I just,
Do we have an honors AP curriculum that we would ideally implement if we had students? No?
I don't know.
If we have an honors what?
Is there such a thing in Highland Park as an honors music? We don't have honors music theory curriculum, even though we're not having class. Okay. This would be it, I gather.
Okay. So then, I guess, is there a reason to have AP rather than honors? Quite a bit of credits that they earn. I think it's 5 rather than a 2.5.
No.
Would that
No.
difference?
AP, if you do AP and you take the exam, then you know how that works, right? And if you take the exam and you get a certain score, at many colleges, you can get college credit.
But you don't get more
For-
credit for the class in high school.
Okay, so only if you take the exam do you get the college credit?
Correct. You have to take the exam and get a certain score, and every college is different. Some don't take any, some will give you credit, some won't give you credit, but you need a certain score on the AP exam to get college credit.
Okay.
And does the AP classification entitle the students to a GPA increase? Is that
Yes.
above and beyond a regular
But so
course?
does honors. I mean.
Oh, it does?
They get a bump for both, yeah.
Are they the same for honors and AP?
No, I think honors
I
is a
think
bit.
AP gives you more.
Yeah,
Okay,
AP
thank
gives
you.
you a bigger bump.
Cool, thanks.
But, I understand why you wouldn't want, why you would think that honors would be the next logical step, but I do have to say that we don't, we don't address the advanced needs of our art students very well, and, at least we don't in the same way as we do other academics or, for example, sports. And so to give them this opportunity, I think, especially in an AP setting would be, and we have a lot of very advanced musical students who I think would benefit from this kind of course, so that would be great.
It would be great, absolutely.
That was my question in the curriculum committee was, how many do we have? Because, not everybody is interested in learning music theory at the AP level, I would assume, and it's a small school district, so.
But with a lot of talented musicians, so I think it's great.
Quite impressive if they're able to do the work, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for curriculum?
I had a question. I know these are mandatory policies, but I don't know if it's...
We're not doing the policies yet.
Okay.
That's later in the agenda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Save it.
The finance and facilities?
Committee did meet tonight. Yes, sure. We did meet tonight. A good deal of the time was spent getting the summary from Mr. Colantano of the audit. We also talked a little bit about the Bartle School window replacement, which is going. It continues. Hopefully, it will be done by the end of January. They've been really working very hard in the cold, and we appreciate it. And in the rain. The weight equipment has been relocated, and everything is operational. So the robotics is in the old weight room, and the new weight room is all set up. We talked about the budget, and we talked about the presentation. I guess Israel and Linda have been talking to various groups about bringing in students from China. There will be a group visiting the high school on January 27th to tour the schools and learn more about the schools, and they'll also be going to Rutgers Prep, which has one of these programs already. So it's just an ongoing effort, and hopefully we'll have some more information in February meetings on how we're going to proceed with this, and talking about capacity and that kind of thing. On the agenda, item 11, the National School Lunch Program has a grant out there, so we are applying. We don't know what our chances are, but we might as well go for it for a new freezer and refrigerator for Bartle. And the item 17 is in regard to the website from the presentation that we just heard tonight.
And personnel, Jerry?
Excuse me, could I?
I'm sorry. Questions?
I have a, I guess it's a question. Number 10, I don't know if I can go to this.
Okay.
I'll explain to you later. So, is there a time limit to tell?
No, you're simply approved to go. Approved to go. If things
Okay.
change, then it just won't happen.
Okay,
It's fine.
all right. I didn't know if you'd paid already.
No, we can't put it in until the board approves.
Gotcha. So what should we do if I can't go?
And then if you can't go, well, let us know as soon as you can.
Okay.
I think that I'll have to look at the cancellation policy,
Okay,
but we haven't put it in yet.
okay.
So I'll speak to my admin assistant tomorrow about that.
So maybe we should, can we remove that and not?
Sure you can't go? Because if it turns out you can, then you won't be able to.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I can go.
Okay, so then we could strike the motion?
Okay. Number 10, yeah. Any other questions?
I had a quick one. Number 13, acceptance of donated items. That's a typo? It's not another...
It is, in fact, another, I'm sorry, I didn't talk
another.
about that, this is another donation, like the one that went to Bartle, that we talked about at the last meeting. These are going to Irving School, again, from the Marines via the Toys for Tots program, and it's coming from a parent of a Bartle student. And so there are toys and books being donated, and we talked about this a little bit, that we're grateful for the donations, and we will be working on clarification of any guidelines about donations with principals, just to make sure everybody's clear on what can come in, what can't.
Okay, so there won't be any guns donated, any play guns donated this time, and hopefully we'll deal with the boy-girl toys a little differently. There were some problems at Bartle when it was, I echo your gratitude for this incredibly generous donation, but some of the implementation was a little difficult for some of the students.
So Mr. Soto would have to take that up with the principals to make sure that I don't know where this is being, it's obviously not with us. It is being talked about at some other level in school administration.
Sure, if we're voting on it, I wanted to just be sure. I know that there were parents in the community, probably on Facebook, expressing concerns about Toys for Tots gifts being given to Irving students, including many Irving students who are fairly privileged and don't really need Toys for Tots donations. I know there were parents who felt like, well, I give to Toys for Tots and it's a little bit of a financial sacrifice. And, when I see a Toy for Tot coming back to me, I feel like, why did I donate? Maybe it's possible that the principals could speak with the teachers about offering the toys for donations to another program if students are interested. I know some students did that. There was a little bit of a movement to donate toys that were not needed. I know. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth or seem ungrateful. I really don't. It's a very, very generous donation.
So it's right. And so I think that actually what we need to do is sort of leave this at the building level and just trust, with the guidance from Mr. Soto to make sure that any guidelines are kept, and that if there are alternatives, that they are made public. But I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time talking about
I agree. This is not our critical issue. I don't even know why we have to vote on it. It would seem to me that it would just go right to the principal. But since we're voting, I got parents asking me questions.
Well, if we
don't have to talk about it anymore. I understand. Thank you.
I'll address it with the principal of Irving.
Thank you very much.
And we'll talk about guidelines and other alternatives.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions about personnel and communication? Okay.
No, we haven't, that was
I didn't do it
finance.
yet.
We have to do
Right, personnel and...
That was finance.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I know I said personnel and communication. Cherry?
Am I good to go for
I think you're good to go.
Okay, well, personnel did meet, and we spoke about a few personnel issues. Some maternity leaves and leave of absence and Schedule B positions. We also spoke about the substitute teachers, about, perhaps utilizing some retirees, for those for available positions instead of a source for teachers. And we have appointed Tim Stark, the physical education teacher at Bartle. Tim's a Highland Park alumni. I know he's given 100% to this district for many years, so I think he'll do a great job. That's great. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions or comments about the personnel report? Okay, now we get to slog through policy. You all should have received from Susan Odato packet with policies for first reading. We can, what I'll do is we'll just go through, and if you have questions and/or comments and/or corrections to the policy, you can let me know. So, it starts here. Yeah. So I think the first one is 12:30. Anybody have changes to 12:30? This is the superintendent's duties policy. This is a repeat.
I have we need a comma under A1. It's ensure all aspects of district operation, comma. On page...
Really? No,
Why
I
not?
don't think so.
Why not? Ensure all aspects of district... Oh,
Ensure all.
I'm reading it wrong, that's all. Sorry. Okay, on the next page, why did we take out the part about the location and size of buildings and additions to existing sites?
We had a discussion about it, and I'm trying to
I
remember
know,
what
I
it
can't
was.
remember.
We tabled it, didn't we? Or, I'm sorry, not we. You guys tabled it. I remember it being like just confusing and inexplicable.
I mean, maybe we don't need to say it, but it is something that will probably be coming up, for one thing.
Yes.
Not, you know...
Well, do we want to unstrike
So we could just unstrike that, I
Yeah.
would think.
So we want to unstrike number 5. I think actually it was because it was addressed somewhere else. Actually, that's what
That's
it
what it
was.
is? Okay.
It's addressed in
I
the
did
rest
not
of the
see it.
policy. We, in sort of other ways, it was addressed in the rest of the policy. So,
Well, yeah, under F4, evaluate the effectiveness of the district facilities and housing the instructional program.
right,
Okay, and recommend changes and improvements.
right.
Okay, all right.
There was
That's fine.
something similar that I noticed under F1.
Yeah.
That's also struck through, and it looks kind of important, so I'm hoping that it shows up somewhere else in the
I
policy.
think it does. I noticed that too. It looks to me like it, I don't know if I can find it, but I
think it is-
remember reading
I
it.
think it is actually in the rest of the, I think it is.
B,
It looks like H3 maybe?
H1, 2, 3, yeah, there. Do you
But
think?
I don't know that it's as coherent as it is in F1. Establishes and maintains a program of public relations to keep the public well informed of the activities and needs of the school district. Over on H3, it says, keep the public informed about the accomplishments and challenges. I don't know that that's the same thing as needs.
Yeah, that's a good point.
See, I actually like the H3 one better.
Well, it sounds better.
Well, no, I think it's more succinct, but I think I like this one better.
Yeah, and then, well, it leaves off this secondary part that says affecting a wholesome and cooperative working relationship between the schools and the community.
Well, I think that
So-
part is addressed in the rest of the policy, that the duties of the superintendent are, are sort of, that's an overarching duty of the superintendent.
It's just that it's directly part of the public relations.
It's directly part of all of his duties.
I would hope so, but I don't see it. That's my concern.
So, I'm sorry, but F is about the maintenance of the physical plant.
Okay, that's very strange, right? The header on F is totally wrong.
So maybe that's just misplaced. But yeah, it's really nothing.
Maybe that's why they moved it and sort of just changed the language in a way that maybe wasn't, but I would prefer.
Makes sense.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it just that it doesn't have a very clear product. It says that, it's generally the same thing, keeping the public informed, but to what effect?
So Linda, if somebody wants to make a change, do we vote on the change? How does this work now?
Is this first reading?
It's just
Yeah.
first reading.
Right.
You would agree or not. If you agree, then that would go in, and it would be noted as with strike-throughs and bold.
So we can take
For
a
the
vote to
second.
determine if we agree, or, yeah?
And you want to move it forward in that fashion for second reading.
Okay. So do you want to actually amend this policy in some way?
I think it would be nice to just, if it needs to be amended, I don't know if that's necessary, but if we could just move this number 1 here to the number 3 spot.
Number 1 what?
The number 1, I'm sorry, F1 to the H3 spot. So I wouldn't be changing any grammar or anything, I would just be taking that strike through out and moving. So is that amending, is that?
Yeah, well, it's making a change to the policy.
Okay,
So I
okay.
think we need to vote on that. Do you want to does she need to make a motion? Or just,
I would,
does everyone understand what what Michelle would like to do to the policy?
Well, as of right now, it looks like that number 1 under F is going to be out. you want to put it back in, but under something else?
Yes, I would like to put it in place of H3.
Or put it in place of H3?
Yes.
I actually like the way H3 reads better than the way I like F1 reads, but, so I think we need to take a vote.
Okay.
So do I?
Does Michelle need to make a motion? So you want to move, you move that, do whatever, you have to move whatever it is that you would like to happen.
Okay, so I would like to move that we change H3 to the current F1 and remove the strike through. Obviously.
F2 also.
No.
Do we have a second?
Oh, second?
I think F2 might be redundant.
Roll call? Huh? Oh, any discussion?
No, thanks.
Roll call?
Okay, in my words, the vote is to use F1 in place of H3.
Right. Unstrike it and use it.
Unstrike, remove, delete the one that's...
Have to be clear.
Ms. Aversa?
If it's fine, if I think I'm agreeing to wait, well, no.
Make the
I guess.
change, yes?
No.
No change.
What, no?
No.
Okay, leave as is. Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes.
Ms. McFadden Danicola?
Yes.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Sherber?
No. Okay.
Change passes.
Okay. So, is anybody got anything else on 12:30? So 12:40, I actually, so on 12:40, at the bottom, where the new copy starts, it says this policy and regulation 1240, but this is regulation 1240, so I think it actually means regulation 1230.
I'm sorry, can you point that out where it is?
So here, where the new copy starts, the first paragraph that isn't struck, it refers to regulation 1240 as being some other policy than this one.
It's a
Policy
regulation.
1240, and then you have a regulation 1240.
Oh,
The regulation
I
goes
missed
into more
that.
detail about the procedures.
There you
What
go.
are the, maybe I shouldn't ask this during a public meeting, the regulations sort of implement these policies?
Yeah, they give more step-by-step details.
Oh, my goodness.
On implementing policies.
And do you have to write those, or what happens to those? Where are they?
I'm sure that they have them back in the office. I'm not-
Oh, okay.
I don't have this in.
Oh, I didn't want to look
We
at them. I
also
was
get
just
them
curious
from
about what they
Strauss
were.
Esme.
in file.
We also get them from Strauss Esme.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I
Yes,
see.
They provide
I
us
see.
with regulations when
Right.
applicable.
Did those get amended along with this stuff? I mean, God, I don't want to look
They
at it.
would
but-
often, yes, if there's a major change, yes, they would also be amended.
Okay, thank you. I didn't even know they existed.
Okay, I'm sorry.
do you
Go
have more?
ahead. No.
On page 3, number 4 down at the bottom. It says, relate to the effectiveness of the overall program and the performance of the superintendent's performance. So I think we want to take out the performance of.
Yeah.
Where?
Okay, down at the bottom of the page on page 3,
And number?
4. You've got in the second line, there's the performance of. You want to take out the performance of.
How they relate to the effectiveness of the overall program and the performance of the superintendent.
Performance.
And, okay, the performance, and the...
It's very meta.
And the superintendent's performance.
Right. And then on the next page, on 4, you've got the evaluation procedure shall be completed by July 1st, which we've already said on page 3, I believe. Yeah. In the middle,
Shall be prepared
right before
for
1.
membership
Yeah.
by July 1.
Any other?
For me?
Oh, yeah. No.
Everything okay?
Everything else
Anybody
is
else?
okay? Anybody else have any comments about this policy? Okay, 2414.
I only have one thing. In the second paragraph, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sixth line, I think it says, class sizes in grades 4 and 5 may be equal but not exceed. So it's either, I think we want to just take out the word be.
Yeah.
So it's may equal but not exceed 25 pupils.
Out of curiosity, are we a high poverty school or a high need school district? Which category are we in? Do we know? Maybe it changes every year.
No, it's a mandatory policy.
Okay, thanks.
So this policy keeps referring to NJ Ask.
Yes.
Which is, we're done with.
Yeah.
So when would that get updated?
Well, Strauss Esme will send us an updated policy, I assume. They actually, as they update them. I mean, we can table it now.
Except that, don't we want to keep it? I thought we wanted to keep these moving just
Right,
because
we do
of...
wanna keep it. Right, so I believe
CUSAC.
that we will get an updated policy from the service that writes the policies.
Can we just make a note of it, that this one has to be updated?
Well, we are now beginning, the bad news is, this is the second year. We now have to review the entire policy manual. So we're going to have to sort of divvy up the policies with all of the committees, and you're all going to have to sort of, the good news is that there shouldn't be a huge number of changes at this point, since we've been combing through the policies pretty carefully, but this is the year we have to evaluate the entire policy manual. Sorry.
But so what do we do when it's out of date? I mean, I don't know if I can approve it since it's out of date, but it's mandatory and we have to approve it. So does it matter that it's incorrect?
Well, of course it matters, but I believe that first of all, this is first reading, so what we can do is,
I know when we asked before with some other policies that were, outdated, I think the response was it will be updated in January.
Okay, so we should just we can pass it for first reading,
Right.
and then the office can just check for an update.
Okay.
Right.
That's
But
great.
somebody will do that? Is that Linda?
great.
Well,
Is it Israel? Somebody has to do it.
we will take care of it.
Okay, that was 241501.
And same thing, we're not done with that policy?
No, anybody have anything else about that policy? Yes or no? Yes, what were you going to say?
So can we move to the next policy?
Yes.
Okay, so 2415.01, same thing, it's talking about NCLB, which
Right.
I don't think has been reauthorized yet.
Right.
So,
But it still exists. We have a grant this year.
under NCLB?
Yes.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else on that policy, 2415.01?
The last page, page 4, it says removal of early warning improvement status must make AYP for 2 consecutive years. So my question was, the middle school, is that something that applies to the middle school? Are we in year 2? Do we need to?
That wouldn't have anything to do with the policy.
I guess.
We're not actually talking, this is the policy manual, so then the policies are applied to the middle school, but whether or not we're in the second year of AYP at the middle school doesn't have anything to do with whether we pass the policy.
Well, I guess my question was making AYP 2 for 2 consecutive years only applies to early warning status or all the other subsequent years?
So to be removed from early warning or improvement status, school must make AYP for 2 consecutive years.
Just from early warning status?
Right.
Okay.
Or improvement status.
So that applies to all of them?
Yes.
Okay.
2415.04. Was everyone done with 01? Okay, 04. Any changes, comments?
Just,
In general, a good question though, do we have a district-wide parent involvement and No Child Left Behind committee? Do we have annual meetings and annual surveys? I believe so. We are doing all this?
Jen, I believe Jen is the one who's been spearheading that area.
I had a quick question. Is there a date attached to, it's on page 5, at the bottom in all caps, it says, description of how the school district will implement required district-wide parental involvement policy components. Is there a date on that that should be here, or is that elsewhere?
I thought you said it said something about yearly when we were discussing it. Was this the policy you
No, this
mentioned
is
that?
the next policy.
You mean in the,
In our curriculum committee discussion?
Yeah.
Was this the one that had yearly in it?
this, I assumed it had yearly. I didn't see yearly. I assumed.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Oh, I'm just asking if there's a date that we need to be aware of or we need to put into the policy, because it looks like something that needs to be done yearly. And that's what I was saying to Claire, that it looks to be done yearly, but I can't tell, according to this policy, if there's any sort of timeline attached. And it's mandatory, so it goes through, but
Be good to know.
It says annually create and implement the parent compact agreement. Is that what you're? There.
what page does it say annual?
Page 6 of 8.
6.
Convene an annual meeting to review the policy. Bottom of the page, annual.
I see annual at the top, I see annual at the bottom, yeah.
Okay.
Clearly, some of it's annual, but
Okay.
some of it's undetermined, I think.
So no specific date would be in the policy?
No.
Okay.
2428.1.
My question with this one is, it talks about the core curriculum content standards. It does not mention the Common Core standards, which are now the standards for English and math in New Jersey. So can we add that? This is not a mandatory policy, but
We can add it or we can table it, and because this actually also refers
To ask.
all kinds of other crap that isn't really appropriate.
Thank you for calling it like this. There's a lot that needs to be amended.
Let's table that sucker.
Should we can table this one?
I guess so. But then how do we move forward with it?
We don't have to, it's not mandatory.
Okay, good. Table.
Okay, so we're going to table 2428.1. 2431.3, practice and preseason heat acclimation for interscholastic athletics. I have no changes to this. Anybody have any questions, comments?
No.
Edits? Nope. Okay, that one can move forward. 2622.
This was another one where it didn't mention the Common Core standards. Only referred
Unfortunately,
to the
this
New
one
Jersey's
is,
core
right.
curriculum.
This one is unfortunately mandatory.
Right.
They're not going to come after us for changing a phrase, right?
No, we can, we have to have a policy with regard to this.
Oh, okay, cool.
So should we go in and search and destroy the core curriculum content standards and replace with?
No. We still do the New Jersey core curriculum content standards.
Just not for
In
math
all
or
subjects.
language.
Except math.
Math and language arts.
Oh, right, okay.
So we want to add
The Common Core
Common Core standards
Common
for-
Core, CCSS, Common Core State Standards.
So every place where it says New Jersey's core curriculum content standards, we're also adding and.
Common Core State Standards.
This also mentions alternative assessments for ELLs and for students with disabilities, pupils with disabilities, it says, or eligible under 504. It doesn't talk about the park test and the accommodations. So not only does that need to be updated, it looks like down where it says HESPA, the high school proficiency assessment, that also needs to be updated.
So can you tell Linda where you'd like to?
I see where it says HESPA. What do you want it to say?
Park.
And park? Or
No, because
No, no
HESPA's
more
done.
HESPA.
Just change, just get rid of HESPA and put in,
Yeah.
There will be no more HESPA.
And I don't know if park offers alternatives for ELLs. So that might need to change as well.
I think we're going to leave it and hope for the
this is a
best.
reference to 504. Do we know that this is true?
About park, we don't know.
So then how can we say that they're not required to participate?
So maybe what we need to do is table this policy as well, and at least until we have more
Can we
information.
do that? It's mandatory.
Yeah, no, we can, we have to pass it eventually. We have to pass a pupil assessment policy eventually.
Yeah.
But what we can do is maybe Susan can call,
Yeah.
Strauss Esme, because they probably have an updated policy at this point, right?
By this time.
Right. So maybe she can do that also for, what was the one? we were
24,
gonna-
28.1.
24, 28.1.
24, 28.1.
Yeah, no, actually, I thought 24, 28.1, we were just gonna get rid of.
Oh,
That's not mandatory.
not mandatory.
There was
Sorry.
another one,
Was it 2415.01?
Was it 2414?
That we table?
well, no, we didn't table it, but you pointed out, and rightly, that.
Oh, 2414, yeah.
Right.
It mentions NJ Ask. It mentions NJ Ask, but not Park.
Right, so
Yeah.
can you ask, yeah, so maybe Susan can find out if there's an updated version. Okay. Where are we? Now, I have.
Got lost.
3125.2 was the next one.
3125-2, right, okay. Any changes? The substitute teacher one.
Oh, okay, no, I didn't.
3280. I had a bunch from last time that I haven't actually made it into that. Okay, doesn't matter. Any changes to 3280?
Number 7, a teaching staff member must not require a pupil to perform tasks that may be detrimental to the health or well-being of the pupil or other pupils. It seems like that would apply to some areas of testing. I think it's fine the way it reads, it's just very vague about performing tasks. It could also be asking a student to not perform a task for an extended period of time. So,
I agree. Maybe we go over that, though, when we talk about testing, whether it violates this policy.
yeah. I guess I was just asking if that was specific enough, or it's fine the way it reads. I like it.
Is there a change you're trying to propose?
I think the thing that I wanted to ask was, is it necessary for us to say to perform tasks or to not perform tasks, or something referring to the idea of...
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not, right?
I think that's a good, helpful provision right there.
Yeah. 3281? There are some blanks on 3281 that we have to fill in. The first one, I think, is probably superintendent,
Sounds good.
Makes sense.
but I don't, what do you think about the next? Yeah, but I wasn't sure about the next two. Yeah.
Principal's designee or something?
Like the principal's
So are we
designee?
talking about like HIB officer or something?
Could we leave it vague, like the principal's designee or something like that? Does it have to be the same person completing every investigation?
Or the superintendent's designee?
Right.
Superintendent designate, staff member designated to complete that.
Okay.
Will investigate all reports.
All right, so we're gonna,
Coordinated.
is that the HIB coordinator?
It says here, budget line development.
Yeah, I don't think this is just HIB though, so I don't think we, yeah. So I think, you want to say principal designee or superintendent designee?
Superintendent designate.
So I think both blanks can be filled by the words superintendent's designee.
You mean both blanks in the second paragraph?
Yes. The first blank is the superintendent.
And the first blank should be superintendent, you're
Yes.
saying?
Mhm.
The Chromebook is killing me.
Well, you know,
Because they're sending it to me.
okay. So then I think it's actually got to be the principal's designee in both cases, because they're sending it on up to the superintendent, so he can't.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
So there was one,
Principal's designate.
Principal's designee. I think in both cases it can be that, right? In both cases it can be that.
And the top is still the
Yes.
first paragraph is still superintendent.
Yes.
The next paragraph is principal or designee.
Principal's designee.
Right.
Principal's designee or?
Principal's designee. So if he or she designates him or herself, that's fine.
I had one question about the way this is worded. The last paragraph on the first page, the sentence starts far to the right. Inappropriate conduct or conduct unbecoming a staff member may also include conduct not specifically listed in this policy, but conduct determined by the New Jersey State Board of Education, the New Jersey Commissioner of Education, an arbitration process and/or appropriate courts to be inappropriate or conduct unbecoming. That seems very vague.
On the other hand, it sounds like what the policy probably is right now, the informal policy.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's
If
meant
it's
to
like-
be vague. Is that
Right.
too vague? Is that fine?
I don't even understand why we're looking at this, I mean, not why I understand why we're looking at, I'm not sure why don't we already have a policy barring inappropriate staff conduct? Isn't that sort of a,
This is the policy. This is the existing policy.
oh, this is the existing policy, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I misunderstood, I'm sorry.
Because there's another one, further on, we're going to get to 4281, inappropriate staff conduct. So this would be the new policy, this 4281?
Oh, yeah, isn't 3281 new also? I mean, it's all in bold text.
They're all first readings. I was confused. It seems redundant.
Why are there two?
And it looks
Why are there
exactly
two
the same.
policies that are the same? Do we know?
I cannot make my Chromebook move
Yes,
quickly.
teaching support and support staff.
Oh.
Teaching staff, support staff. It's probably identical.
Okay.
Except for that it applies to different groupings of people.
So the titles should be different, or the title is the
No,
same?
it's the same.
Okay.
It's at the top, it's
I
different.
see, the section where
Yeah.
it appears. Okay, okay.
Are you having a good time, Claire?
I'm just laughing at Jerry.
3282.
I had a quick question about number 7. I'm sure it doesn't mean to prohibit staff members from referring to the school district in emails. I think that's just a inartfully worded sentence there. Do we?
Is there a way that you want to change it?
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry. Let me be more concrete. Sorry. I mean, I would strike the word email in paragraph 7, line 3. I would also, I mean, from my perspective, I would like to strike adding references to the district in general. I mean, that seems awfully broad to me, so that's two separate things. I don't think we should prohibit all references to the district. Someone says, yeah, I work for Highland Park on their Facebook page. I mean, I'm not sure that needs to be prohibited. And number two, if it is prohibited, let's not prohibit it in employees' emails. That just, so I would propose those two changes. But I would be happy.
Can you say out loud what you would like to change, or how you would like it to read?
Okay, so number 7, are prohibited from using their school district title as well as adding references to the district. Let me do the easier change first. Are prohibited from using their school district title as well as adding references to the district in any correspondence, including but not limited to strike emails, then go on postings, blogs, blah, 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 blah. I also would, the second change, this is more substantive, sorry, not more substantive, just more, a bigger change, are prohibited from using their school district title
I wonder
in any
if this
course.
can all be fixed by adding a reference to inappropriate,
Yes.
rather, I mean, not
Yes.
all communication, but just inappropriate communication. So what if
Great.
we say, from using their district title inappropriately?
Great. Much simpler,
And
yes.
and then, you know,
That makes sense.
I love it.
That kind of speaks to me for number 6 also, because I was thinking about how parents are expecting teachers to tell them what's going on in their school, in their classroom. Number 6 seems to be taking away that
no, this is,
ability.
I have to tell you, this is, all districts are doing this, that,
Okay.
you know, that, and here what happens is when kids graduate, they, you know, they end up sort of friending teachers, but up until then, there really does need to be a firewall.
Oh, I wasn't talking about that, I don't think. This is,
Number 6, you
it's
said?
number 6. Like, for example, if a teacher was, you know, working in a capacity where they were being, you know, a social activist, and they didn't like something that was happening, they didn't have to refer to what was happening in their building, but they were talking against something.
Like
It
testing.
says, shall not use social networking sites which would be detrimental to the mission and function of the district. So in any case, that would mean that if a teacher was talking against, you know, I don't know, a certain
Testing.
curriculum that they didn't like.
Right, or that
You know,
Common Core, like an anti-Common Core website.
Right, and if all the districts are doing it, I think that's kind of suspicious, but it's true, I'm sure, that, you know, they would be concerned with what the teachers are.
This is really, this is, I think that your concern is not the aim of this particular bullet. This particular bullet is aimed at teachers. And, you know, we've all seen, you know, sort of cases of this where teachers post things that are racist or inappropriate, and so at that point, they can be disciplined based on, there have been a number of cases in the news where, you know, where teachers feel like this is their free speech right.
I've
but
seen, yeah.
Right, so that's what we're really sort of getting at here, not, you know, not
Okay.
teachers railing against Common Core, or, you know, I don't think,
Well, I mean, I'm understanding and completely supportive of, you know, the first.
Number 5 seems to take care of that, right?
Yeah. I mean, promote violence.
Oh, violence,
yeah,
I'm
that
sorry. No, I apologize. No, not violence. Never
no,
mind.
I mean, I think,
read it
you know,
wrong.
we really need to, you know, we need to look at this comprehensively. We need to have a policy that says that, you know, that we won't, you know, that we will not tolerate, because
I agree. I just don't want to see someone in trouble because they posted on an anti-park Facebook page, you know,
I
blah,
don't think
blah,
that's,
blah.
you know, I think that those kinds of things are covered under academic freedom.
Okay.
So I mean.
Okay, great.
If that's the case, that's fine. That was my question, was, is this really
I think
all
that those
encompassing?
kinds of things, the things that you're concerned about are covered under academic freedom, but I think that what we really are doing here is just, you know, sort of making it clear that if we discover these kinds of communications that we find unacceptable, that they are, you know, that they are punishable offenses.
So maybe that's the definition that I was seeking clarity on, was what do we find acceptable?
Well, I mean, anything that you're talking, like, you know, going onto a website and saying, I think park is terrible,
Right.
this is covered under academic freedom. This
Which is the next policy.
Right.
Yeah, that was a records professor having
Right.
some issues with this, that's why it's top of mind.
Before we go forward, I just want to clarify, under number 7 then, we're going to say are prohibited from using their school district title inappropriately, comma, as well as adding references, yada, yada, yada.
I still have like some slight objection to that, because if you're using like something like LinkedIn and you're using your title, you're referencing that you have some professional credentials to yourself, that you are speaking from a matter of.
But that's not
That's not inappropriate.
It's not.
Can we get inappropriate to modify both of those? I mean, it's like a grammatical thing, right? Inappropriate's not.
I think then the inappropriate is up to, what the superintendent would feel would be appropriate or inappropriate based on how they're posting. And, whether it could be used as someone looking for references for a job, that might be considered something that, I don't know where it could be taken. I think it's open for too much conjecture, but
So
not to
these
say-
policies don't supersede the law.
Okay.
No.
Great.
Then I'm overthinking it.
Right.
Okay, no problem.
Better to overthink.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, where are we, 3310? Academic freedom? Comments? Corrections? Keep going. 3351, healthy workplace environment, comments, corrections? Moving on. 3374, tenure upon transfer to an underperforming school. Comments, questions? 4159, support staff member, school district reporting responsibilities. 4281, inappropriate staff conduct.
So we just have to add on the second page, what
Right, we
we
have to fill
added
in
to
the
the other
blanks,
one
right.
with the superintendent.
So
and then-
superintendent, and then principals designate, principals designate. And 4282, which is essentially the same, so we can make the same corrections. This is just for staff members, so we can include the word inappropriate in number 7 in the same place. Is that all right with everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
4324, right of privacy, support staff members, comments, corrections. 4351, healthy workplace environment.
I just have a typo thing on page 2 of 2.
It's for support staff, though.
Maybe I don't.
Sorry.
They need to be outlined.
Yeah,
I was being a nitpicky
Does it reoccur?
Yeah.
I knew it. I saw that too.
5411. Promotion from 8th grade.
No.
I just had a quick question on
changes.
that. The second paragraph, the third line down, all the way on the right, it says, "and a satisfactory attendance record." Is that cross-referenced with any of these down at the bottom with more detail? Like, what is a satisfactory attendance record? How many days are allowable and things like that? Is that cross-referenced?
That's actually prescribed by the
So
state.
you can
Okay.
graduate.
You have to attend a certain number of days in order to get credit for a class.
Right, I
That's-
just wanted to make sure it was cross-referenced here under,
I don't know if it's cross-reference in those, but
it says something like attendance at policy guide number 5200. I just wasn't sure what that was.
I could pull it up. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
so when you have questions, like at home, you can actually also pull up it, because all of these policies are on the website in the policy
Okay.
manual.
I'll make more time next time.
I know, I'm sorry, the policies are very time-consuming.
Yes, I'm sorry too. You're important though. There's so many of them.
Yeah, 42, right?
Yeah, so I because I know that we have specified how many days is, so I don't think we need to.
It was just a double check.
No, we definitely,
Yeah.
it's not a
Random.
Yeah, I know there's a specific amount allowable.
5561, use of physical restraint. I know that Anne had issues with this.
All right, my Chromebook just went haywire. I mean, I would move that we table it so that we can have a more thorough discussion of some of the, some additional points, such as perhaps specifying that in addition to making sure that there's no restraint except in the case of an emergency and that after other interventions have been tried, that perhaps we specify that there should be a behavior plan in place for students who have any kind of a history of behavior that might trigger restraint. I know that special ed law has some laws in place already about that, but this obviously would apply to all students.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
So we can pass it for first reading, and then if you are able to distribute the material that you sent out, and it can go into the board folder, so everybody has it for discussion for next time. So we
Okay.
can actually, is that
That's
all
great.
right?
Sure.
Is that okay with everybody?
Great.
Okay.
Would I just email that to Linda and then, or I'm sorry, not Linda, maybe.
Linda or Israel.
Oh, and he could put it in the drive
And
if
then
appropriate?
Susan will put it in the folder.
I gotcha. Okay.
With policy.
Thank you, yes.
Or we can, I mean, it's up
No,
to you.
that's great. Let's move on.
6511,
Direct deposit, whatever happened with this.
deposit, yeah, I mean, at one point, we asked what the cost associated with check cutting were, but I guess that's not really pertinent to the policy. Anybody have any questions, comments? 8220. So this has a fill in the blanks.
This was a concern from some parents about not being allowed in the building during inclement weather. And I hadn't heard any news of any kind of, improvement, but I didn't hear any more complaint either, so
That's been resolved.
very good.
Now this, I mean, so these, you can fill these in, right? And so just fill them in so that they are the appropriate amounts of time and start dates and everything. Do we have, how many minutes before school are students allowed to enter the building? I mean, we don't have to have this in the policy. This is not a mandatory policy.
So why do,
Do you want to table this? Okay. Israel would like to table this until next time. $84.20, emergency and crisis situations. Comments, corrections? $84.53, HIV/AIDS. Comments, corrections. $84.65, hate crimes and bias-related acts. Comments, corrections. $85.05, school nutrition.
Quick question. This does apply to our hired cafeteria nutrition program. This is exactly it. So my question is about, it says the following items may not be served, sold, or given out as free promotion anywhere on school property at any time before the end of day, school day, and all forms of candy. I would assume ice cream would fall under that category.
Ice cream doesn't fall under, believe it or not, it does
Really?
not fall because of,
The dairy lobby, perhaps?
I'm sorry.
The dairy lobby, perhaps? I don't know. I shouldn't have interrupted, I apologize. I thought I was being funny.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But that's
Well,
interesting.
reading the federal, nutrition guidelines actually is a bit of a venture into comedy, but ice cream is not included in this list. They can sell ice cream. I'm
Okay.
sorry to tell you that.
Okay, I was just wondering because
I
it
know.
Thank goodness.
very
I
clearly
guess
say.
Something for crying out loud.
Ice
I have
cream,
nothing against ice cream, clearly, but,
ice cream is permitted.
okay.
8601, pupil supervision after school dismissal. Comments, corrections? I think we actually, we need to decide if we want to include the optional sections and fill in the blanks.
was there ever an update? Wasn't there going to be a meeting with parents and administration about the issues at Irving in the playground?
But
You know,
this
we
is
had that
actually,
meeting
this is a separate
month and a half ago.
discussion than this.
That doesn't have anything to do with this?
No?
Okay.
I have a question about, do we need to, I guess it says mandatory, so now we're going to need to require all students at Irving, all parents to fill out a request form to signify that they do not want their child released without an adult. I mean, that's the practice at Irving anyway. And this policy is like, well, you must have a request, they must fill out a request form. That seems just, could we delete that part? Or should we just leave it and deal with it?
Yeah, I think we have to.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Just seems like a lot of work for somebody.
So we need to decide in the first paragraph, well, and actually in the second paragraph, programs in grades blank to blank who are not eligible for district-provided transportation. So.
Pre-K to 3, right, is what we do now? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yep. K through 3?
Pre-K is obvious, I guess. Right.
Okay. Pre-K through 3. Linda, are you making a face for something?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm making a I don't know face.
Oh, okay. I think it's pre-K through 3. Third paragraph, any parents or legal guardians of a pupil attending a district-operated school or program in grades, and it's the same grades, pre-K through 3. And then the optional, this form shall be made available in the main office of the school building.
That's not optional.
Wait, what about the
Escorts?
the higher up, the
Oh, I'm
other
sorry.
option
I'm sorry.
in the third
Escorts.
paragraph, optional?
And so, do we have, what is it now? Do we know?
Designated must be at least.
The age of escorts, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
I say we just delete that option. Given that we're not anticipating ever changing the
We can delete it.
policy.
It's optional. We can just delete it.
But then that would exclude, like, if there's an older sibling? Right? I mean, like, if I had a kid, I mean, if my, you know,
Right.
my daughter's 14 and in high school, I'd let her go pick up my kid.
Right, exactly. And that's, I think, probably
So,
the primary
but-
sort of use of this particular
Yeah.
policy. So what do we want to say, 12?
I have no idea. Yeah, I think so.
No?
Well,
I think at Bartle, 5th graders pick up 3rd graders,
Yeah,
and
so, I
so
mean, just,
10, 9, I
the
don't
parent
know.
can send a note anyway, it's not like any 12-year-old's gonna go.
Any random
Any
12-year-old.
kid.
Can we leave
Right.
it to the discretion of the parents, I guess?
No.
We can.
How about
we actually
age
have to
9?
pause
4th
that.
graders can pick up 3rd graders, maybe.
Well, I know personally several fifth graders that pick up their third or second grade sister brothers,
So
so
that's 10.
10.
Let's do
Israel, you have feelings about this? You think that's too early?
I mean, personally, yeah, I have feelings.
My kid's not going to do, my 10-year-old cannot do that.
But some 10-year-olds probably
Sure,
can,
yes, absolutely.
is my guess.
Absolutely. I think maybe even 9-and-a-half-year-olds to start the school year in 4th grade.
I think it's in.
Otherwise, we're going to have complaining,
You think what?
What do you think we should say?
whatever you think.
Kids babysit at 12, so, I mean, you know, you'd be a mother's helper or something at 12. Seems like you could walk a kid home from school at 12. No? It's a table full of helicopter parents.
Depends if you're talking about boys or girls, right? I mean, just certain personalities and certain kids. 12 is not
Right,
12 all
and
the
you
time.
as a parent would decide that. I mean, it's
Exactly,
not
that's
like
why
you were
I-
going to, you know.
That's why I wanted to leave it up to the discretion of the parents,
So
but
can we
we
just-
can't do that.
Well, but
We
it's
can, we can-
still
we can
the
delete it, it's
parent
optional.
or legal guardian, it's always, it is.
So it is-
It is discretionary, but then there's also an age limit.
we-
So
We
it
could just
says
delete
the
the-
parents or legal guardians designated escort must be at least. So
Okay.
it is up to the parents, but we also are interjecting ourselves here.
That is optional. Do we want to include that option? I mean, I would suggest we just don't include that option.
But
Well,
then there's no policy.
But then there's no policy, and that makes it impossible to, you know,
10-year-old can pick up
right.
Well, there's no policy on age,
Or
right,
a
but-
12-year-old sibling can't go get his or her sister, you know.
Well, if there's no policy, it would be whoever, I mean, doesn't the parent or guardian have to specify who the escort is earlier in the policy? And
Why
if the
don't
parent
we do 4th grade, age of 4th grade,
Okay, 9,
since we just said pre-K through 3?
That's 9.
right. That's the first time at which Bartle kids might take home their younger kids, younger siblings.
I'm just seeing some nods in the audience. to fourth grade. I'm just thinking, I'm
I was going to
not.
say 13, start as a teenager, just to be safe.
I'm with Jerry on that too, personally,
That's
but this
what I
is
was
not,
going to suggest, a
right.
teenager.
Oh, but that's, parents really rely on, I don't know, if you're walking 2 blocks to your house, your 5th grader can't pick up your
I
3rd
seem
grader.
to be in the minority in my,
Well, I'm not going to let my kids do it, but I mean, a lot of people do, and they kind of depend on it for
But hey,
childcare.
what happens to your kid?
No, I didn't mean that. My child is kind of spacey. And if I lived right across the street from the school, then I would.
Split the difference and say 10.
I know lots of different kids. My son, I love him, but he might not be
But
the
so
same
you would never,
about it.
so you wouldn't designate.
Right, the
but
thing is the
there
parent would designate.
are
We just have to
10-year-olds.
freeze.
Okay, so
You designated the name,
Right.
a named person
want to
anyway.
say 10? 10? 10? 10.
By the time people
Isn't
come-
each one of these optional, so we could leave it to the discretion of the parent?
Well, so if we take it out, there's no policy.
If we take out the option about
If we take out the
age.
optional, there's no policy about the age.
Right, so there's no policy about the age, so then the parent would be able to designate whoever they want.
The named
the
person.
escort, and it would be at the parent's discretion to say whether or not the designated escort is a 9-year-old or an 18-year-old.
Okay, but then do we want to be, that enables a parent to designate a 7-year-old or, or a 5-year-old or, I mean,
It would happen.
9?
would happen or it might happen.
It could happen,
but I
right,
don't think
I see.
We want to be in that position. So I'm suggesting 10.
I'd suggest 9, because I think we'll get beginning of 4th grade.
Well,
I don't care that
Israel
much.
is nervous about 10, so.
Oh, okay, well, I leave it to your discretion in that case.
And how many escorts, up to how many escorts are we allowing parents to
Now
designate?
that we don't have to decide.
No, we can leave that part out.
If it was left,
Okay.
I'd say 18.
So we're going to delete that, we're going to delete that option. We don't care about how many they designate.
And you're saying 10?
Yeah, right. And then I think we can probably, we don't, if we don't pick one of these, then any of these is fine, I think.
Why don't we
So
just pick them all, right?
let's pick them all. But that obligates us to do them all, and I don't.
You could add the word or.
Right, we can say or in between. So why don't we pick them all and put or, okay? Beautiful. See, this is when policy gets fun, because people start getting punchy.
Oh, God, there's a lot more blanks.
And there's still a lot more.
Oh, my goodness.
Are we going to have any other?
No other. There are fill in the blanks in the second paragraph on page 2. They are also, well, we're checking one option, so
We release-
1 marking period, 1 month, 2 marking periods, or the entire school year. How long are these?
Entire school.
Entire school year.
Entire school year.
Way too
Entire school
burdensome
year.
otherwise.
Okay, entire school year. There's an optional section on the bottom of page 2, in the event the parent and legal guardians or designated escort does not pick up to arrive their children. Contact. Well, of course,
What else are we
seems
gonna
like an
do?
odd, what else would they do?
Kick the kid out, make them
Make them
go on
beg in
the
the
street
street.
all by
right.
themselves.
Right. I mean, we can include that, because what else would they do? And option 1 for school, but we do have an after-school program, so we're getting rid of option 1. You can just cross that out. And then there are options on the bottom of this page. Does anyone want to weigh in?
I like or for those 3.
Okay,
Or-
so
or-
we do
or.
the same thing, check them all and put or. Linda?
What, they can't be relocated to the after-school program.
Can they be?
No, you can't do
Oh,
that. You have
oh.
to pay to go to that or
Oh,
be
sorry.
signed up for that.
In an emergency, we can,
I don't think you can just plop them to the after-school program.
no, you can't, yeah, they're all options. In an emergency, they're not going to throw the kid out on the street. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the third option looks a little iffy.
You mean about the after-school program?
Yes, it's, I think, more complicated than it looks. It's not just drop off the kid at the after-school program, because you're
This is only in the event that, you know.
Like an emergency
yes,
situation.
Exactly. And that can happen.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if that would throw the after-school program off ratio or something like that.
No.
There's blank.
There is
Do we
blank.
just say the after-school program?
Yeah. We don't need to name our does our after-school program have a name?
Beautiful butterfly. And optional and signs the people out of school,
Or.
under third.
Oh, no, I think, yeah, because actually, especially if they're in the after-school program, they do have to get signed out. Right.
Name, okay.
Down here.
Yeah, that's the,
Yes,
So
so,
you have to write their name in
right,
to sign them out.
right.
That's, okay. I would just, can we check with the after-school program, or we know that that's okay to say? That we could just plop a kid there?
We have an administrator here saying it's okay.
We have an
That's an option.
right, and
Okay.
an
I'm not saying
emergency.
we're going to do
Right.
it, but in case there's an emergency, that is an option that we.
Imagine a fire destroyed the whole school, including the main office. And the other option is also,
And so option 2, which is the entire fourth page, essentially, in brackets.
geez, this goes on forever.
I know, I
Maybe
actually,
we should just get rid of the after-school.
I mean, I guess we can include it. Does anyone have a problem with it? No. Okay, so we're,
With the inclusion of the other option, if it's determined that there's frequent emergencies causing the parent or legal guardian that they could be charged the fees for the after-school.
exactly.
No, good.
Very good.
Okay, and, that's it. Okay, school volunteers, 9180. Questions and comments?
So we have to select an option?
We have to,
Yeah, well, and also I imagine people want to weigh in on this, no?
Select one option.
I think anybody working with children has to complete a criminal history record check.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that
Absolutely.
happens.
How many instances are we going to say, though? I mean, like, if I go in for a class party, I don't...
No.
I think it sets out here, like...
a class parent or
So
something.
But if you're in there
Oh, God,
every
a class
week,
parent.
I mean,
I don't want to get...
Really?
I know.
I know, because, I mean, I didn't.
I certainly didn't.
I
Oh,
know.
my gosh. That would stop me from doing it, I think.
Right.
For
well,
going
that's
to
the thing. We
Morpho
don't want
and...
to deter people.
No, but it does go on to define it, saying that it's on a regular basis with so many occasions during the school year.
Oh, sure, I think if we
But
define a
should
high
just say,
number.
How many?
I mean,
30.
I
went
went
in every
twice
week.
a week, every
Yeah.
week.
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
So how many?
A lot of people do
I
that,
did
yeah.
as well, and I brought
Yeah.
my father to read a book, and, he came with me a couple different,
So how many is how
regular-
many?
Get the man printed.
Right.
I think, though, that the teacher is not allowed to leave the volunteer.
never, ever.
At all. So
Right.
I don't know, I mean,
Paranoid.
That's a good point, so,
Very
that,
paranoid.
it's not like.
No,
they're
the
gonna be
teacher
left
is not
alone,
allowed to
like
leave.
And
in
Right.
fact, in the lower grades, there's often a para, kindergarten, there's a para in the room as well. So there are three.
so there's often more than one person in the room. It's not just, the volunteer is never left alone with
criminal
the
is never-
children for any reason.
The potential
So I don't know how much is really a safety issue and how much is, at stake. I don't know. I just know that
I got the giggle.
it would deter.
This is not a mandatory policy.
Okay.
So do we even have to have it?
Israel, do you have any opinion?
So, and I do actually. So what we're saying is currently with volunteers, they're not required to be fingerprinted?
That's correct.
No.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Personally, I have a problem with that.
Really?
I do. I'm all about safety. Someone can say, I want to volunteer, and I want to make sure that this person is,
So then I feel like
It's a
what we
whole
need to
workday,
do
don't it?
is at the beginning of the school year, we need to say to parents, if you would like to be involved in your child's classroom, and then we have to have that company come and fingerprint everybody.
Oh, at the school, that's a good idea.
They don't do that.
They don't come.
Morpho doesn't do that.
You have to go there,
They don't-
It's like a whole workday. It's like 4 hours,
and it costs money. And-
which we would pay.
And the
Right.
question is,
It costs
who
$80
pays?
or
Gotta do it
something.
Who
online.
pays? Does the volunteer pay, or does the school district pay? And, then you need a policy for that.
may I make a suggestion? I think we should table this.
Yeah.
I really want to
Get
think
more
about this,
information.
what other districts are doing.
Yeah,
Great.
good, thank you.
I'm going to table this.
Tabled.
So then the same for the next one.
9180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same for this one.
All right.
Yeah.
Stay with it.
And, okay, I was going to say, because I think these volunteers might be alone with the kids.
The coaches, yeah.
Yeah.
Coaches actually probably are. Student teachers, interns, 9541. Anybody have corrections, comments? Nothing? Okay, 9500, cooperation with educational agencies. We have some fill in the blanks. Actually,
We don't have sending our
Right, we
constituent
don't
districts
have-
particulars.
We don't,
Do we have sending and receiving districts for more than like one?
well, I mean,
There might be like one
what we
student.
do have is, we have special education schools. I
Right.
mean, we contract with other educational agencies, not districts per se. But we send our kids to other schools.
don't we have kids from other districts that come here?
We have a few tuition paying students, yes.
So this probably affects, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do we have other educational institutions that receive from this district a significant number of pupils or that send to this district a significant number of pupils? And that probably is no.
No.
So it may be that this is just not relevant. We don't need to meet with the boards of anybody.
Although we actually, depending on how you define a charter school, we have a significant number of
Well, that is true.
charter schools.
And we want a cordial and constructive relationship.
Yeah, that's what we long for. Yeah, I don't know if charter schools sort of fall in this category or not, do you?
We are a sending district.
Yeah.
So I guess.
Districts that receive 10 or more of our students or something like that? I don't know.
So East Brunswick essentially receives 10 or more of our students.
Right, would that be the only one that would come under that?
How many
Hatikva?
kids are at Greater Brunswick?
Oh, Greater Brunswick and Hatikva, right?
It's usually around 8. Yeah, I think it's under 10.
I don't know.
You want to table this?
Yeah.
Is that maybe we're going to consider it like at every single meeting until we pay?
We're getting, oh my gosh, 9,700 special interest groups. This is the last one. Yay.
Oh, this is the campaign
Yeah.
flyers, right?
I know, I'm sorry.
So this second paragraph,
Yeah.
that made me think of the donation that we received, the toys and the books. This is only saying from an organization, not from an individual.
No, I think this is, well, I don't know.
But, it says that it has the primary effect of advancing the name, product, or special interest, and that is not what's
That is
going
not
on.
what-
That was a
yeah.
donation from,
It
just,
didn't advance any.
I just wondered if, because of the use of the name, if it advanced.
no.
No.
I mean, I don't think it did.
Any other, we have an optional section.
I like the optional section.
Okay. And so are we selecting local, state, county, or federal, or community nonprofit?
I was thinking things like Sustainable Jersey, that would fall under nonprofit.
Well, it's both. So actually, can we say
So-
both and and do or?
Yes.
Thanks. Okay.
It's only 10:12.
Oh my God, are you serious? It's not yet time to go home. I know.
Yes, it is.
That was the hard part, right?
Wow. Actually, it wasn't the hard part.
Wait, when do we have this?
Okay, we have now come to the public comment portion of the meeting. The Board of Education welcomes public participation and has reserved this time for your comments. If you would like to speak, please step to the podium and sign your name and address.
Hi, I'm really tired. I'm going to be really quick. Dan Finaldi, 40 South 4th Avenue. First, I wanted to say I'm really excited about a couple things, really excited about a couple of things. I think that the offering for curriculum advanced placement in the arts is long overdue for our district. I think it's fantastic. I think it's really very exciting. However, I want to offer some advice. In my experience offering AP in the arts, although you have a lot of high-end students in this school, a lot of ambitious students, a lot of talented students, an AP curriculum is best offered, I think, with a package in which you have prerequisite course that will lead into the AP. That's especially true with AP Art Studio, and it's especially true with AP Theory. Theory course, even though you have a lot of talented musicians in this school, theory is a different bailiwick. A lot of innately talented musical students will go into a theory class and their head will go tilt. There's a lot of mathematics involved. There's a lot of transcribing from one key to another. It's extremely technical. And to offer AP theory without perhaps an honors theory or perhaps a Theory 1, Theory 2 AP theory, I'm not sure if that's such a great idea. I think it's a sounder idea, better idea. I think to have an AP theory course as the carrot for the ambitious student who is attracted to the AP curriculum, who wants that AP on their resume, but to have it so that they would have to pass through a series of courses so that they're prepared. In past years, when my son was in the district and they offered theory classes, they couldn't fill the classes. I think that was partially due to the fact that there was no AP theory at the end of the journey. If you had a journey that carried a student from Theory 1, honors to AP, I think that would be a terrific idea to build, and that's my point of view. And I think that I hope that you would consider expanding advanced placement into, or honors placement into AP Studio. That would be terrific. If you do it for music, it would be really great if you did it for AP Studio. Yeah. The other thing I think it's terrific is I think the website is long overdue. You know, to have an interactive website is really terrific. The thing that really kind of concerned me a little bit was, and I'm sure you're going to work this out and you're going to think this through. But if you have a teacher that has called in sick, but then would have to teach distance or through some sort of video, to me, I think that would be problematic. If a teacher is sick, the teacher is sick. I don't see how a teacher can be sick and also working. So that sort of caught my attention, and I think I wanted to put that out there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Do you know something? Sometimes teachers know they're going to be out.
Right, so they can pre-record something, right?
Hello, my name is Allison Salerno. I live on Grant Avenue. Sorry. I'm really happy to see that the district is moving towards a policy on the use of physical restraint. I am on the board in CPAC and talked to some of the other folks on the board leadership, and I'm going to read something that Amina Magali wrote because she couldn't be here, but then I have some of my own quick comments to make. She says, I believe it is a good idea, to have staff trained in physical restraint. In some special ed schools, all staff are trained. Some students can get out of control and need gentle restraint. Some need extra pressure for sensory overload. In New York City, I've heard many stories of police intervention because staff are not allowed to touch students. If trained staff, and if staff trained in physical restraint exist, police intervention and expulsion would not be necessary in most cases, causing undue harm to students' self-esteem and education. That's from Amina Magali. I just wanted to add that I do, my day job, I work with students with behavioral disturbances. And when I was hired, I was specifically told, we're all told, you never touch a student. We're not even allowed to give them high fives, okay? That's to protect both the student and the teacher. When I have had issues in my classroom of students throwing things at me or at other students or whatever, I have somebody to call who is trained in how to deal with that. I absolutely, as a teacher, would have no idea how to properly physically restrain a student. I have no training. So the policy is a good one in that it requires, I read the whole thing and I thought it was really a sound policy. My one concern is that when I mentioned it to other parents in the community, they said, oh, a policy on physical restraint, this is terrible, what's going on? So I think that for those of us who aren't in the public schools or working with children who have some behavioral issues, it might sound like, super harsh or whatever. And so my suggestion would be perhaps for Mr. Soto or somebody else to consider speaking with parents groups. People are going to be concerned. They may have a concern that I didn't notice, that you didn't notice, or just to allay concerns. So, but overall, I was happy to see you put it through first reading. I think we do need, both for the protection of students and for the protection of the staff. I actually know of a person in another part of the state who was fired as a special education teacher because he attempted to break up a fight between students, and DIFAS got involved, and so we really need to make sure we're following the proper protocols. We want to protect the kids and we want to protect the district. So that was just my only suggestion, was to maybe think about meeting with parents who are going to, I'm sure they're going to have concerns. So thank you very much.
Anne, can I make a comment?
Let me quickly respond.
It's okay, you can sit and...
Allison, yes?
Yes.
Allison, thank you so much for sharing your views. I'll let you know that Bill Schlaller, we had an intense conversation about providing workshops for teachers in physical restraint. That's already happening, and I'll also reach out to him tomorrow to coordinate some more sessions to communicate with the parents so they can actually understand the process behind that and why. So I appreciate your comment.
It would be great if perhaps you or Mr. Schlala could come to the next CPAC meeting. Do you know if one's been scheduled yet? I don't think so either. Okay, well, we'll just keep that in the bag of ideas.
Any other public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on. So can I ask Claire, will you move the curriculum items, please?
Yes, I would like to move items 1 through 10 with the changes that I read in before.
Second.
Sorry. We've already, discussion? So haven't we already had the discussion?
In case there's any questions.
So any other discussion?
Gosh, no.
Okay. Ms. Aversa?
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes, except to the G&T field trip portion of number 10, if that's allowed. I think it's number 10.
So no to the G&T?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Ms.
Thanks.
McFadden DiNicola?
Yes.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes to all except for number 6.
Number 6, no? Ms. Sherber?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. And
Okay, I'd like to move items 1 through 9 and 11 through 17. We need a second.
Second.
Sorry.
roll call.
Ms. Aversa?
Yes.
Oh, comment? No comment.
Nobody said anything, so I can't do it. Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola?
Yes.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes.
Sorry.
My tongue got stuck there.
Ms. Scherber?
Yes. Jerry, can you move the personnel?
I can. I would like to move items 1 through 7. Was there an addendum? There was no addendum, right?
No. Oh, but okay, but this, now, is there an addendum for this? I'm sorry.
That's under
New business.
Okay.
No, okay.
Do we have
Second.
Any comments or questions? Can we have a roll call?
Ms. Aversa?
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola?
Yes.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Scherber?
Yes. And I am going to move the policies. So, do you have the ones
Yes.
we tabled?
The items I have noted to be tabled are policy 2428.1, 2622, 2414, do you want me to slow down? 8220, 9180, 9181, 9500. Did I get them all?
Yes.
So I would like to move number 1, policies for first reading with the exception of the policies that Linda just read.
Second.
We had a second.
Any questions, comments? Okay. And the roll call.
Ms. Aversa?
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola?
Yes.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Scherber?
Yes. For the President's report, I just have one item. I wanted to make everyone aware that the Department of Education has announced public sessions for the Study Commission on the Use of Student Assessments in New Jersey. There will be 3 public hearings, one in Blackwood, New Jersey, one in Jersey City, and one in Jackson. They ask that if you would like to testify, you pre-register online or by calling them. That information can be found on the DOE website. And they will be, and they're considering and making recommendations on the volume, frequency, and impact of student assessments occurring throughout New Jersey school districts. So I know that this is something that people are very interested in. If you would like to, and the dates are, because that's important, January 27th, January 28th, and January 29th. So there isn't one that's particularly close, which is sort of too bad, but if you are enthusiastic, you might, I guess Jersey City would be the closest one. Anyway.
Yeah.
And old business. We have a resolution for sustainable Jersey for schools that we need to pass. It had some blanks in it, didn't it? It had like
Yes, most of the blanks are Highland Park, so it's the Highland Park Board of Education. There is, we do hereby recognize the public schools, so we're going to list the schools in there. It's the appointing of a district liaison, and I think that I am the board liaison to this effort. So we're having a meeting on Thursday night with people on the green team, with the students, with people working on Sustainable Jersey, the other one, which I'll talk about in a second. And so at that time, it may be that we can determine who the liaison would be. It usually would be a teacher or maybe the advisor for the environmental club in the high school, but we have to work that out. So if we could just approve this in, and just fill the blank in before Adam signs it, that would be great.
I did read it. So do you want to make a motion to?
I would.
Okay.
I move that the Board of Ed accept the recommendation of the superintendent to approve the resolution to participate in Sustainable Jersey for Schools as per attached.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
That was,
Claire.
Ms. Aversa?
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola?
Yes.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Scherber?
Yes. In new business.
Can I do an old business?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to talk about the Sustainable Jersey Borough Project, and I'm just going to read this email that I sent to Israel and Linda, because it's late. So I attended the kickoff meeting for the borough's Sustainable Jersey project. They received $10,000 to conduct a study of the energy demands for the borough in a power outage, the critical needs versus non-critical, inventorying what resources are now in place, such as generators, solar arrays, and looking at what could be developed with the aim of providing resiliency in the event of power loss. There's a description of the project. It talks about the role of the schools as potential gathering places, because naturally we could be. But so Linda is gathering some information, and this really is an exercise, maybe for I think 6 months. Just looking at the resources in town and then trying to maybe start figuring out how to connect and make connections and have gathering places, and like another Hurricane Sandy happens. So what do we do? So if anybody has any other questions about that, just give me a call and I can try to get answers. Thank you.
And any other old business? In new business, we have the Highland Park Board of Education resolution opposing expansion of the Hatikva Charter School, which you've all been given a copy of. So, Linda, can we actually, we can move this tonight? We can read this in? Okay, so
Okay. Yeah. Did everybody get a chance to read this?
Did everyone get a chance to look it over? And do we want to have a discussion first about it, or?
You can present the resolution, the motion, and then have a discussion.
Okay, so should I move it, or do you want to move it, or? I'll move it. I move that we accept this, that we extend this resolution to the state of New Jersey opposing the expansion of the Hatikva Charter School.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just didn't know if this was something that we shared with other local districts, if Mr. Soto was in communication with other superintendents, but...
Tomorrow I'm going to be speaking with the superintendent of East Brunswick. I'm going to reach out to him, and I had extensive communication with Darcy over the weekend, and so we're moving forward.
So, yeah, Hatikva, apparently the East Brunswick district was given until yesterday to respond to the expansion, But as you probably all know, at this point, to call Hatikva an East Brunswick public school is just odd, because slightly under 50% of the students are not from East Brunswick. They are from our district. We are the second largest sending district, but they are also from districts all over the state, and so it will have a profound and an unhappy effect on our budget if we have to send additional students to this charter school. So roll call. Linda?
Ms. Aversa?
Yes.
Ms. Berkowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Bull?
Yes.
Ms. Gowan?
Yes.
Ms. McFadden DiNicola?
Yes.
Mr. Roslowitz?
Yes.
Ms. Scherber?
Yes. We've come to the second portion of public comment. The Highland Park Board of Education welcomes public participation, has reserved this time for your comments. If you would like to make a comment, please go to the podium and sign your name and address. Seeing as there is no comment, I need a resolution to go into executive session at 6:30 p.m. on February 9th, 2015 at the middle school to discuss personnel, litigation, and negotiations.
So moved.
Second.
Linda? Do we need a roll call?
No, all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
And
Motion to
adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
All right, done.